The underlying question is, do we have the same autonomy concerns for animals as we do for humans that would make their consent even necessary?
I would rather have a society where people fuck animals and are all vegan than a society where, well, this one.
Oh, guys, you need to be 100% morally consistent if you want to criticize fucking dogs. And let's talk about veganism, actually. It's a backdoor debate to veganism.
I would rather take somebody who's inconsistent and eating a burger but not fucking a dog than someone who's being completely morally fucking consistent and they fuck dogs on the side.
No, okay? Let me ask you a question. Has anyone here fucked an animal, yes or no?
I'm curious, too.
Have you had sex with any animals?
I tasted a dog's penis once.
Hello. Welcome to yet another episode of Whick TV. We had the conversations that you want me to talk about. And apparently this week, y'all wanted me to talk about very meaty subject. Now, I'm going to be a little more heavy-handed on the moderation than normal. I'm going to keep them on a tight leash, gang, for this one, okay? Making sure, they don't, go wild and crazy and start with the zoomies. But we're going to talk, to be frank, about zoophilia, or fucking dogs. And it's in the news recently due to the OnlyFans girl who got banned from OnlyFans for bestiality.
Sorry, what was her name again?
A naughty princess. Exactly. So that's something to talk about.
What does the naughty thing mean? What's the naughty thing about?
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Trust me. We got some experts, some subject matter experts that's going to explain this to you in more detail than you would ever hope for.
Don't act like you don't already know, Chud. Come on.
But for now, we're going to talk...
I just don't want clips of him saying it.
...about whether or not this has any... should she have been banned for this? Isn't this just another brand of sexuality? Right? Is anyone actually being hurt? Well, we'll get into it.
So I'm going to assert through this debate that although I am not personally a zoosexual, I am an ally, and what Naughty Princess is doing is not wrong. I've seen a number of otherwise respectable personalities rail against this woman for her sexuality. Every argument that I've seen used against this woman and zoosexuals in general are the same arguments that are used against homosexuals, necrosexuals, transsexuals, et cetera, and are merely bigotry, which I won't address, with the exception to one argument that I think is more uniquely weaponized against zoosexuals and I do think is worth approaching, which is the concept of an animal not being able to consent. Putting aside the blatant hypocrisy of accepting the mass detention, torture, and slaughter of animals in the meat industry, the imprisonment and exploitation of animals in the egg and milk industry, and the enslavement and confinement of animals that are our pets, none of which animals can consent to, the underlying question is, do we have the same autonomy concerns for animals as we do for humans that would make their consent even necessary to allow them to eat peanut butter off of the vagina of a woman? The reason we don't let other beings that can't consent, such as children, engage in this behavior is there are harms and risks of harm associated with that behavior that cannot be consented to. Harms and risks that we can definitively measure. We're concerned about these harms or risks of harm that cannot be consented to, for which that affects a being that we value, a child. Unless the opposition can prove that same long-term harm or any harm at all, it would appear as though a dog, cow, horse is only gaining benefits. The risk of harm is simply not the same. Our value of the animal is not the same. Therefore, sex with an animal is far more comparable to owning a pet than it is to actually harmful sexualities such as pedophilia. For that reason, I suspect most of the opposition to Naughty Princess is actually just irrational disgust, bigotry. Thank you.
Irrational disgust and bigotry. Well, thank you.
Can we just point out the right-wingers are so far arguing for this, not any lefties. It's the right that are arguing for bestiality.
Okay.
Just want to make that clear.
Let people have their say. Let the dog fuckers speak, right? And we'll get to you. Don't worry, Chud. We'll get to you. Smug. Speaking of Smug, it's your turn. Let's hear it.
Lactoid is such a devoted king to consistency that he will even bite the bullet on this. And I agree. You don't care about the dogs. I think we can probably just skip past that part, right? You can't claim to care about the dogs if you don't care about any other component of the animal agriculture industry, particularly the massive components of it that are sexually exploitative and involve non-consensual sex acts on animals. So, if you don't give a shit about the dogs, you're going to have to explain why dog fucking has a unique ability to harm society. You need to explain why that kind of degeneracy ends up being worse for society than the very real harms that the animal agriculture industry engages in every single day. I'm not trying to make this a vegan argument. I want to understand why dog fucking actually harms society any more than anything that society already does with or around or exploiting animals.
So
And you won't be able to do it.
Are you pro dog fucking or anti?
I'm anti dog fucking and
Okay.
anti animal exploitation, but
Okay.
I don't think you can be one or the other. It's all or nothing, baby.
Fair enough. Next up, we have dog. Please.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Dog. I'm not a zoophile despite my profile picture. But yeah, no, I kind of support. Well, I don't know if I should say support, but I do believe dog fucking is permissible. At the very least, if the person takes proper precautions to make sure the animal and themselves aren't injured, or harmed in the process. And I agree that if you support like the slaughter of animals, then I really don't know what.
Okay,
what else
listen,
you
if this
have
is going to be a
say.
vegan panel, I'm going to bounce because this is fucking boring.
I'm
Okay,
not-
I didn't come on a panel with the Whick. I didn't come on. Let me ask you a question. Okay, fuck this intro bullshit. Has anyone here fucked an animal? Yes or no?
I'm
Does your
curious
mom
too.
count?
Has anyone on the panel fucked an animal? Yes or no? Answer the fucking question. Everyone, go round and answer. Go.
No.
I have never fucked an animal, but if I did, I wouldn't admit it because it's against the law.
Yeah, you can't really admit to illegal activity on Twitch, man.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah.
What?
For now, we.
Well,
we
I guess
have to
depends
say-
What's
where
the
you did
fucking
it.
point of this? Is it just a vegan panel? I don't want to have a conversation about fucking veganism. I don't give a shit, okay? I come on to speak about dog fucking. Everyone's bringing the vegan arguments. Are we
We're
going to
only
talk about
talking
dog
about
fucking?
dog fucking.
Shut the
What would
fuck
you
up,
want?
Smugbug, you fucking idiot. Are we here to talk about dog fucking or talk about veganism? What's
It's
the
actually
point of
not
this
illegal
panel?
in most of the U.S. to fuck animals.
Tragically, I'm not in the US and neither is Chud, so.
I don't think
But
that's
we know,
true.
Smug, I know that you didn't fuck a dog, okay? I'm talking to the
Oh,
other
guys,
motherfuckers
you
on
need
this
to be
chat.
100% morally consistent if you want to criticize fucking dogs. And let's talk about veganism, actually. It's a backdoor debate to veganism. Are we talking about
fuck that.
fucking
Wait, so
dogs or
hold
not?
on.
Get
I'm not a
wrong.
vegan. I'm not a vegan. I
Yeah, Lactoid
genuinely
isn't.
believe that like I think most of the reason why people are against this is just because of like disgust factor, which is the exact same reason they were
Yeah.
against gay people.
Yeah,
Are
I
you just
kind
here
of
to
agree with
argue
that.
for
too.
disgust?
Huh?
Like, what is your argument if not
No,
just
he-
disgust, Chud?
I want to talk about dog fucking and everyone's talking about veganism and I don't
We're gonna
understand
talk
why.
about dog fucking. I
No,
promise
but we're
you.
just making an argument. We're just saying that if you support one, you don't have a case against the other, and also be consistent.
That's not
Okay.
even fucking true. That's not even fucking true. There are absolutely other reasons to oppose fucking animals besides being inconsistent. Even if, like,
Yeah.
why are you arguing that everybody needs to consistently be a dumb fuck, okay? I would rather take somebody who's inconsistent and eating a burger but not fucking a dog than someone who's being completely morally fucking consistent and they eat burgers and they fuck dogs on the side.
No,
okay?
yeah, I
This
think
is
you're
the-
misunderstanding what we're saying. We're saying that if you believe one is right, then you don't have a case against the other, right?
How do you know that people think it's right to be killing animals? I think everybody here probably
I'm
will
not saying
fucking- would
I'm not.
say-
I'm saying if they think one is right. I'm not saying they do think one is right. I'm saying
It's
if
not,
Okay,
it's not just
every-
eating.
it's-
It's not just eating, by the way. It's like owning or having a pet or playing fetch with your dog.
Is
Yeah,
y'all's
exactly.
argument just like, oh, okay, so if we can kill animals, why can't we fuck them right before? Is that your argument?
not exactly. No,
That's
Okay,
one
then what is
argument.
it?
I mean that's well. My argument is simply that I don't think it does any harm. Well, it can in some cases, but in cases where
Really?
precautions are taken not to harm
What do
the
you mean
animal,
precautions?
it is okay.
Like, what are you talking about precautions?
Yeah,
what are the
so-
potential harms? If you were a dog fucker in training, okay, and you really wanted to like fuck dogs, but you didn't want to hurt the dog, what precautions would you take?
Well, for starters, I mean, one simple one is just to recognize the size difference, right? If you have like a little dog and a big fucking cock, that's gonna cause some problems, right?
It's always the size difference.
Okay, well, let's just talk about Naughty Princess. Like, she obviously didn't fuck the dog. The dog must have fucked
Who
her.
here
right?
has watched the video of Naughty Princess getting fucked by a dog?
You.
I only saw the
Can
one
you
on Twitter of
describe
her
it?
making out with the dog. I didn't see. the
Wait,
one
can you
about-
link that?
I mean,
Has anyone seen
Do
it or is
not
it just
link
me?
do not
Am
link
I
the
the
video
only
in my
one that's
chat,
done the
please.
due
You
diligence
know-
and
you
research
can't
for this
can't
panel?
admit that. Fuck,
Chud.
Jesus.
Jeez, look, Chud, you know what? I've seen videos of that happening. I didn't need to see another one to know what it looked like. Okay, buddy.
Okay. Well, let me
I
explain
didn't
it to
see
you.
her stuff, but I've seen
Okay,
it.
please,
I've seen
please
stuff like
describe it in detail if you feel it's necessary for the panel. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, the first point is she's bent over. There was visual verification. She's got the same tattoo as Naughty Princess on Twitter, so it's definitely her. A little white dog, some sort of poodle, I don't know, comes up and tries to mount her. You don't actually see the penetration. It looks like, because it's a side view, it looks like it's too small to get in there. So its little fucking lipstick dog zombie cock is popping about trying to get in there, and it seems like she's enjoying it, but it doesn't look like there's actual penetration, but you can't tell 100%, okay? And then after a minute, the video stops. That's what
You're
happens.
arguing against this.
That's wrong, according to you?
Like,
Once
what?
it stopped,
we
how
just
many
wanna...
times did you press replay?
I watched it twice to make sure to see what was going on, but I did
Let's
not
check
get
the
erect.
pixels to
Make a
make
note
sure
of
it
that.
was-
I did not get erect. Okay, make a
Uh,
note of that. All right.
the cock cage was
Jesus
secure.
Christ.
Would you have gotten
I mean,
erect had it been a bigger dog?
But can you explain? Can
What
you
if it was
explain
a
why
German
it's bad?
Shepherd? What if it was a
I
Great
just-
Dane?
What was
Okay,
a Great
listen.
Dane?
If a white woman, right, loses control and fucking fucks a dog in private, you know, whatever, I'll turn a blind eye to that. I don't really care, okay? My issue is the normalization of it and people sort of seemingly trying to push for it. And you fucking idiots are being useful idiots because you're coming up with all these logic-bro arguments, not to test the core of your moral foundation, but to actually support a woman fucking a dog on video and that being perpetuated and being accepted by society. That's what zoophiles want. They want you to make these arguments so they can go, well, we're free reign, we're good to go, and their position gets normalized, when I think there is an issue with normalizing further abuse of animals. Like, exactly like Straighterade said, great point by Straighterade, I want to say, right? If you have abuse already that we agree is bad, maybe some people don't. I think that eating meat is bad. I do it in spite of the fact that it's, you know, I think it is wrong to do that, right? I'm just a lazy fuck. A third of my meals are vegan, by the way. Nonetheless, I don't think we
Virtue
need to
signal
add
points.
to.
Congrats.
I don't think we need to add to that by saying, right, well, if that's okay, let's add more onto the pile and just start fucking animals. You know, I think we should stand against that and push towards a place where, you know, we don't abuse animals in society. We don't fucking murder them to eat them and shit like that.
Yeah,
You're
you guys
the
are
useful
going in the
idiot
wrong
for hearing them
direction.
out. They're not the useful idiots for making the arguments because they want to fuck the dogs. Or people who want to fuck dogs just want post hoc rationalization. You're the useful idiot for bringing them onto these panels and hearing them out as if they're equals to you.
Wait,
What
but
is
no
your
one here's
definition?
fucked. Wait, no one here's fucked a dog, have they?
Don't
what's
hear
wrong-
the
what's
definition
wrong
of
with your
a
mic?
Are
dog.
definitely going to hear this.
What?
People who want to fuck dogs are definitely going to hear this panel.
Yeah, and who are they going to be more happy with? The people that are going, yeah, this is a bit fucking weird. We probably shouldn't do this or
Yeah,
normalize it, or the
you're
people that are
describing-
making these logical
You know-
arguments
you
and
know-
going,
You're describing
these guys are
every
right.
sexual minority ever.
I don't fucking care about other sexual minorities. Okay, outlaw them too if all I fucking care. If it means people don't fuck dogs.
I would rather have a society
Jesus
of people, of vegan people who fuck animals than people who eat animals and don't fuck them. Like, one of them has materially less harm from every perspective.
Wait, what was that?
What?
I would rather have a society where people fuck animals and are all vegan than a society where, well, this one. That would literally
Wait,
be better.
That's-
Well,
you
guess
can't
what?
be
We have the
vegan and
worst
fuck
of both
animals.
worlds.
You're right.
You
You're
can't
right.
be
I'm
vegan
saying
and
that
fuck
that is a
animals.
lesser
That's not
harm. That
possible.
would literally, that as in they
Yeah,
follow
what
their
are you talking
vegan
about? Of course
diet.
it's possible.
No,
Well,
it's not
I mean,
because,
that's
because
true.
in order to be
It's to
vegan, you
reduce
can't
the-
support any sort of.
Yes,
Okay,
you
we're
can
going to
be
do
vegan.
this.
Can you be-
Smug
can you
bugger,
be a
you're just
vegan?
going to do the thing where you speak everyone over time like the insufferable cunt that you are. Because if you are, it's a waste of fucking time.
Can you
isn't it?
can you be a vegan and
Oh,
own it,
go ahead.
like play fetch with your dog? Can you own a dog?
Yep.
Sure.
I'm a
That's
vegan.
different to sticking your dick in it, isn't it?
Sure. Well, no, not sticking your dick in it, but we're talking about what Naughty Princess did, all right? What's like we were talking about like
Are
risk
we?
of harm or normalizing what she did. Like, what is the what is the difference in risk of harm from playing fetch with your dog compared to, let's say, putting peanut butter on your genitals and having the dog lick it off,
Oh my
or what in
God.
this video where the dog's trying to mount her? There's no
Yeah,
harm.
what-
Like the
what's the
harm
difference?
associated with
What-
that is identical to that of playing fetch with your own dog. Like, what's the difference there?
There's no harm when you play fetch with your dog. One, can I ask you? Can you tell
There
me the
could
difference
be.
between shaking a woman's hand and going right up to her and kissing her on the mouth within 5 seconds of seeing
Yes,
her? Can you
psycho-
actually?
Yeah, psychological harm done to the woman, a feeling of violation that she doesn't want that to happen. But like the dog, it's clear. Like if you put if the dog is licking the peanut butter, the dog wants that, right?
Okay, wait, but you can
Do
use
they
the same
want it
logic
to
from
eat
a
it off his dick?
child. You can use the same logic with a child. A
intro
child
was
doesn't know what they're
explaining
doing,
why
do
it was-
they?
I told you
My whole intro was explaining why it's different than that, right? Because when we're talking about, again, like a child, you also can't own a child as a pet, right? There's certain rules in place, and we also care about the future well-being, like psychological well-being of the child. The dog
Yeah, we
is
have
not
an
going to have
accountability
future
structure
psychological
for that.
problems from licking peanut butter
How
off
do you
a
know
vagina.
that? How can you tell that? How do you know a dog doesn't have
Okay,
psychological problems?
Okay,
doesn't.
is there any
He doesn't know
evidence
that.
whatsoever? Is there any
You
evidence?
don't know that at all. You've got no idea. Well, we don't understand a dog's brain well enough. This is why the consent argument sucks as well. An animal cannot consent
You're right.
to having
don't
sex
even
with
know
you.
if
I
You
have
don't understand.
I have equal evidence that there is long-term psychological harm from having a dog lick peanut butter off your genitals as with a dog playing fetch. The evidence for both is equal as to whether or not there's future psychological harm for the dog.
If you had to guess what's going to cause more psychological harm, if you had to guess, would it be chucking a ball and they go pick it up and bring it back to you, or smearing peanut butter on your genitals and they lick it off? What would you guess?
Neither has any psychological harm for the dog.
Dogs have literally exhausted themselves to death playing fetch with automated fetch balls. Like that's a shit argument.
Yeah, they can also get injured chasing the fucking ball. They can like knock into furniture. Like
How
there's
many
all sorts
dogs
of shit
have
that could
died licking
happen.
peanut butter
What's
off
the
of
harm from
someone?
licking some
Okay,
peanut butter?
but you're talking about a dog not understanding its own level of exertion and being, taken advantage of by consistently playing fetch. Obviously, I wouldn't advise that someone take a dog out and just play fetch with them until they fucking die. Obviously not. I'm talking about, one instance of going out to playing fetch, chucking the ball and then bringing it back.
There's risk with any activity you do with an animal. The question is whether or not this activity has any like special risk that justifies throwing people in a cage for doing it. And in this
All right,
case,
Lactoid, wait. We have to leave this vacuum. Okay, we have to actually introduce practical real world hypotheticals. So you're telling me that if you walked into your neighbor's house and you saw them with smearing peanut butter on their dick, okay, just dousing it in fucking Skippy, okay, and a dog licking it off of it, you would not find any distinction between that and then if you saw them playing fetch with that dog.
so logically there would be no distinction. I agree.
No, shut the fuck up about logic, okay? I'm telling you what.
Yeah, as if that's what you
Logic
think
is
about.
difficult. I get it. Yeah,
What's the
exactly.
logic and consistency
No,
here? Would
so
you
the whole-
walk in and think about the logic of it, you fucking retard?
Yeah, so
Would you walk in and think,
the
what's the
psychological
logical
harm-
breakdown
the
of
psychological
smearing
arguments-
peanut butter on the genitals?
Yeah. Arguments
fuck out of here with this, man.
Arguments are an exercise of logic. If we just wanted to like come in here and just bloviate about our emotional reactions to things, we could do that as well. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit interesting, I guess, because I'm not used to seeing that in the same way that in the 1950s, if I came into a room and saw two men fucking, I might might be kind of fucking weird. But then it's
If
not
I saw
wrong.
anyone fucking, I'd think it was weird, to be honest with you, whether they're
because,
gay or
it's
not.
somewhat of a private activity. So if I walked into a room and I saw someone fucking a
the
dog,
psychological
I
damage
probably
to you.
But
wouldn't.
it's not.
I
But
would
it's
not
not a
report
private
them.
activity when it's in a video, is it? And it's put onto the internet. It's not a private activity anymore.
So all porn
No,
it follows that
as
same
long as you're
logic.
not propagating it to children. If you're an adult who clicks on that, you've chosen to engage in watching that activity. In the same way, when you watch porn, you're engaging to watch like the sexual activity. And I'm okay with adults watching porn, but not children.
Yeah, the video didn't rape you, Chud. You
Yeah,
clicked on it.
You
clicked
watch
on
it
it. Well,
twice.
someone sent
you
it to
watch
me.
it twice.
I did watch it
well,
twice
then
because I
that
wanted to see what was going on.
That person raped you.
Listen, if someone wants to watch someone fucking a dog, good luck to you. I don't really care that much.
Well, yeah, okay, but right now we're talking about this in the context of if you fucking do
I
this
don't
activity,
think- but that
you
being
lose your
said-
job,
wait.
you go get put in a cage, the cops come after you. We live
Sure,
like it's
I don't even
authoritarian.
know. Okay, well, you're doing the weird libertarian, whatever. I don't give a shit if they go to jail or not, whatever.
Then
I don't
fine,
care
I
about
want
that.
to live in an authoritarian society if that.
I
that's what
know
that means,
all
okay?
leftists are really fascist when you
But-
cut down deep down.
but wait.
I appreciate it.
So, just because I don't have a problem with someone seeking that out, I don't think that you should have dog fucking on Pornhub. Okay? So what I'm
agree.
saying is,
Okay,
right,
but
so we
email the
shouldn't
owners.
well, it's not on Pornhub, is it? I'm saying it shouldn't. It's not now, and it shouldn't be. And they shouldn't be further normalized. If it continues to be a niche thing on the internet, then I'm perfectly comfortable with that. Whatever, you can't fucking eliminate that stuff. But it's the normalization and the pushing of it that we need to stand against. Now, fortunately, most people are against it, right? I mean, unless you disagree, do you think Pornhub should have a tab for fucking dogs?
Well, wait, would you make
I don't
would you
care.
make that
Sure,
same-
why not? It's
No.
not my decision. I don't own Pornhub. If you
Chuck,
want
would
to
you
have it
make
be
that-
like a specific dog fucking website, I don't care. That should be fine too.
Would you make that same argument for any extreme kink that could be like dangerous, like scat? Do you think that Pornhub shouldn't have a
Yeah,
scat?
I don't think
Or
Pornhub
gay
should have a
porn.
scat segment.
Should
Okay.
Pornhub have a gay section?
Nah, gay
Then you're
porn's
probably-
alright.
That's a section.
Okay.
That's a separate argument altogether because you're conflating like the zoophilia thing. You're already presupposing that it's a sexuality or some sort of immutable characteristic
no.
that's like worth
Oh, right,
protecting.
yeah, homo thing, yeah.
And these are not identities. These are behaviors. These are actions. There are editorial decisions that are being made when somebody makes porn and uploads it. This is like completely different. And you're gonna have to get into memes about like big tech and if they have a right to have TOS and stuff like that.
Wait a minute. How is the gay porn case disanalogous? I don't understand. Firstly, you're saying it's not an identity.
All right,
What
wait, really quick.
actually-
Are you telling me that you cannot tell the difference between two consenting adults having sex with each other versus like an adult trying to have sex with an animal that it cannot communicate with? That's what you're saying? You can't tell the difference between those two things?
No, I'm saying that I can't tell the difference. I'm just saying why is one bad?
The onus is on you to actually tell me why it's okay, because
No.
right
Yeah.
now
Here's
society
a-
thinks
Oh,
it's
wait,
here's a
completely
The
simple-
onus is
okay,
always
we
on someone trying to
agree.
legalize it.
Here, hold on. I think here's the case, right? We're saying what really matters at the end of the day isn't consent, right? It's harm, right? The reason why we can pinch a baby's cheeks but not like rape it is because rape is harmful to that baby, right? Even though they can't consent to either one. And I'm saying in the case of animals, there are going to be cases, and
Okay.
you might argue that these are like,
Do you
you know,
see the
only a
difference
few-
between
Hold on,
taking
I'm not
care
finished.
of a living
I'm
organism
not-
versus
Hey, just real quick, you gotta let the
exploiting
dog
it
fucker
I'm
finish. You
not-
gotta
I'm
let the dog fucker finish. Let the dog
Yeah,
fucker
Very
finish.
true,
Go
go
ahead.
for
is
it.
more important.
Yeah, and I'm saying, well, firstly, pinching a baby's cheeks has nothing to do with taking care of it, right? That's the first thing, right? But the second thing,
Wow.
in the case
Dad of the year.
yeah, in the case of dog fucking, there are going to be some cases where the dog probably isn't harmed, right? We could tell by its behavior. And in fact, there are cases where animals will actually pursue sex with humans.
Probably
right?
is doing a lot of work there. What the fuck do
Yeah,
you
but
mean?
it's also doing a lot of work in the case of like playing fetch with your dog. You don't know, like your dog might have nightmares about you playing fetch with you. You don't fucking know that.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
like
if
for
I can't know
example,
about the
you're appealing
nightmares,
to
how can I know
pointers,
about
you
the
can.
consent? If I can't know about nightmares that dogs are having, how the fuck can I know that they're consenting to have sex?
I'm saying they're
How-
not consenting. I'm saying consent is
That's what I thought,
irrelevant.
yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you know? How do you know that your dog is consenting to being picked up?
But I'm saying they're not consenting. The point is they don't have
Right,
to
they're not
consent.
exactly.
Yeah, but I'm
Well,
saying
yeah,
they
but,
don't have to consent. Who cares?
So the problem is whether society is right or wrong, society expects that getting sexual with an animal will harm it. Even if they're wrong, that's what they expect. They don't expect that lifting a dog up is going to harm it. I think that's a pretty dumb argument.
I
I
will
just
say
think
that-
it's very
The only
disingenuous.
reason they think that though is because they haven't sat down and actually fucking thought about it. The only reason is because
Okay.
really, when you boil it down, there's one passage in the Bible that says we're gonna fucking kill you if you do this, and that's where all of this stems from. There's no actual reason why.
To be
this should
fair,
be
I think
illegal.
there might be other Well, I think it's mostly has to do with disgust.
Right, and where does the disgust come from?
Just cases where people have like actually like harmed animals while doing this. But we're saying, look, in cases where there isn't a clear harm to the animal, why is it wrong? Right? And if you think it's, oh, well, we don't know if there's a harm. Well, we don't know if there's a harm in any case. So are you going to be against pets? Are you going to be against playing fetch?
The only
Like-
way
Okay.
you couldn't know the
No
difference
evidence.
between right and wrong in this context is if you wanted to remove consent from the discussion entirely, which you do. But continue, Chud.
All I
Yeah,
was
I'm
gonna
saying, who
say
cares
is
about
I fe-
consent? Like, why do
feel-
animals even if consent was important to humans, right? Which I think to some degree it
Okay.
is. I think largely it's because humans value consent and autonomy much more than animals do, right?
How do
Like,
you know that?
Yeah, but
Animals
children
violate
don't
each other's
value-
consent all the
But
time.
children don't value
Every
consent
time
and
animals have
autonomy.
sex, they can't consent. Like we gotta
Exactly.
go stop
No
that, right?
animals in nature are consenting either. Like even if they've got mating rituals, their behavior is defined by instincts beyond their ability to consent to them. They're following biological drivers. We have the capacity to be moral agents.
For
They
all
don't.
It would be like
intents and
someone. It
purposes,
would be
the
like
dog
someone.
likes
With,
it.
it would be like someone with Down syndrome mounting you.
I don't understand.
I'm not going to speak next.
Kinda hot.
Look,
Do
we wanna go down
that
rabbit hole?
There's the
Wait,
risk
but
of
how's that an
harm.
argument against me? I don't get. How is there an argument against my position?
Do we want to go down that
Just
rabbit
pointing something
hole?
out. Just pointing something out. That's all. All I was going to say is I feel there's a lot of disingenuous comparisons here, and people are acting like picking up a dog, right, is the same as opening up its area and getting your dick out and sticking your dick in it. When between humans, we recognize that the act of sex is substantively different from, like, you know, I don't know what the equivalent would be with an adult. You don't really pick an adult up, do you? But like, I don't know, having some other interaction with them. Sex is like meaningfully different from these other acts that we engage in, and there are certain like chemical things going on which we can't even possibly begin to hope to understand in an animal based on our current state of scientific understanding. So I think that like we can probably say that whilst the dog isn't consenting to being picked up, I think you're being dishonest if you're not saying that it's likely that fucking them is likely to cause them more distress than just picking them up is.
Chud, in the
Not to
video,
mention, I mean, you
you
guys-
watched, real quick, Chud, in the video you watched, do you think that abuse was done to that animal? Do you think any harm came to that animal? Do you think that animal has any like likelihood of future distress at all?
Probably probably not. No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Sure.
Right?
So
I don't think
in that case,
I can't say, but I'd have an abundance of caution and say
Sure.
there isn't really any need to have sex with an animal beyond some sort of like, you know, urge to do so.
I mean, there's not
So-
need to own a pet either. right? Like I don't.
There's no
That is
need.
still for
Hold
your
on.
pleasure,
Besides,
yeah.
like the abundance of caution. So you would agree that maybe your position is the only thing she did wrong was upload it. Like as long as she had done this like in private, you would really have no issue with what she did, right?
If someone wants to have sex with an animal in private, like I don't think the police should knock down their door and arrest them. No, like do what you want to do. Whatever, right?
Sure.
The issue is the perpetuation and normalization of it. I think we should stand firmly against. And it's funny because normally people say it's the left that are arguing for that, but it seems like you're the one that's actually arguing for bestiality.
Well,
this
no,
time around.
yes, you're right.
Variety.
I am arguing in favor of adults not being arrested or adults being able to do what they want, as long as it doesn't involve, again, children. And I've already explained in my intro why.
Even if it means abusing animals, yeah.
Well, you consider it abuse. You
consider.
consider it abuse. I think Chud is right.
We have animal
based on the
cruelty
video.
laws in the book.
I think yeah, and we also used to like kill you if you were gay.
Fucking point? Can I finish my point? We have those laws on the books. Are you saying that there is no way for you to discern when an animal is in pain or being abused?
The video, the dog was not in pain or being abused.
Wait,
No, you're right. Yeah, we
There's
can
a blurry
discern.
line there.
I agree with you that like any reasonable person could discern if the dog is like actually in pain
I'm not
or
talking
being
to
abused.
a reasonable person. I'm talking to you.
Sure.
Okay. And I'm asking.
Yeah, sure. No, I know.
Can you tell when an animal's in pain?
I'm the
Can you tell when it's being
unreasonable.
abused?
I'm the unreasonable one that's too focused on logic. I know that's like difficult.
That wasn't the question that I asked you. You said I asked you what your reaction would be if you walked in on somebody getting their dick sucked by a dog because there's peanut butter on it.
There's nothing wrong with
well,
that.
Logically,
It's assault.
I start thinking
Wait,
about...
Aaron,
So not only do I
Well,
logically think there's no problem with it, I wouldn't do anything about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Is the dog wagging its tail?
Yeah, the dog. If the dog, like, okay, now if we're talking about like a dog being in distress, now it's a whole different conversation, and that you could have that be the standard for differentiating these videos into legal and illegal, which is the same thing we do with regular pornography. If we watch like we're looking at regular pornography and we see women who are like obviously being abused, well, now we can step in and like regulate that. But as long as
it's
like the woman is not in distress.
There's consent.
The dog licking peanut butter off the dick. The dog licking peanut butter off the dick. And under what reasonable standard is that dog being harmed? Under the video Chud described, what the dog was. Even he agreed the dog wasn't being harmed.
I can't.
Well, to my knowledge, based on what I know, but I don't know 100%. I'm not like an expert.
No one knows
the
100% anything.
Okay,
sure.
Is catnip harmful to cats? Do we know whether it's harmful to cats?
This feels like whataboutism.
I mean, my understanding is catnip's been used for a long time.
It's not.
There isn't any cases that I'm aware of where catnip has caused like problems and stuff like that.
How can you tell? You can't tell if an animal's being harmed every time you see a cute video of a catnip.
But here's the other problem. But here's the other problem we got too. When you have sex with another human being, there's a communication that happens. So if you're doing something that's causing pain or discomfort or there's some other issue, right? They can communicate that to you and that can be dealt with. Not necessarily the case with an animal, particularly if we're talking about like smaller animals that aren't in any way able to like, indicate pain in the way that maybe even like a dog could. So I think there's another practical concern that exists where you're not getting that feedback from someone, that enables you to know whether you should continue to do what you're doing or not.
The dog is interested in the peanut butter and the cat is interested in the catnip. Like that's the problem. There's no way to
Yes,
there's no way to distinguish between those two things.
Licking the peanut butter. Yes, go ahead.
Do you know how clean dogs' mouths are? Would you say that they're clean or dirty? A dog's mouth. Answer the question.
Do you know how clean your mouth is?
Probably not that clean.
Can we just answer questions? Is that possible? Can we just answer questions?
Okay, first of all, what a fucking question. Second of all, they're dirty, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Have you ever heard of zoonotic diseases?
Sure, I've heard of STDs. And
did you know that infectious diseases can be transmitted from animals to humans and humans to animals?
Okay,
so get an STD test and it's
fine.
fine.
Condom.
Yeah, I was going to say, an STD test might not work.
No.
Is there so
it can be harmful?
Sure.
Yeah, but what if you just wear a condom? I don't get it.
There is, I guess you could make the
way
argument.
To communicate with this animal, you have no idea its hygienic status or anything like that. I mean, you're rolling your eyes, but that's not an argument.
No. I understand. So, but like, you could also agree this could apply to any disease, right?
Yeah, sure.
So
I never argued against that.
So I can't own a pet anymore because I'm interacting with the dog and giving it whatever I have by touching it, by letting it lick my face.
Yeah.
No, typically when people have pets, they take care of them. They take them to the vet. They get shots for them. They inoculate them.
Wait a minute, you have for your dog too. Wait a minute, hold on.
What the fuck? This isn't. Oh god.
What do you mean? Do you think that like people who abuse animals do so opportunistically for the most part?
Yeah, but we're not
You think of it,
arguing that
we're not
we're
talking
okay
about
with
that, we're not
people
talking
doing
about
it opportunistically.
we're not talking about dog rapists, we're talking about dog lovers, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
One issue that I
How do you
heard
know
though,
that?
the
What's the
They're all
STD
difference
thing.
between those
rapists. To
two
be clear, they're all
things?
rapists. But like, there is a distinction between those who are like violently doing it without concern for the animal, and people fucking their pets and thinking they
It
have a
doesn't
deep,
even have to
meaningful,
be
loving
violent. I'm
relationship.
saying somebody asked me where's the harm, and I gave an example of how it could potentially be harmful because you
Well,
have
no, you
no
just
way
gave
to
an example of
assess
how it could be
bad it is.
harmful.
Here,
in a
I'm
specific
actually going
scenario.
to research this. I'm curious, like, what is the risk of a dog getting an STD from licking peanut butter off of
Wait,
someone's genitals?
It corrupts
okay.
your search
Wait.
history for that. not us.
Straighterade. I think just to back up what Straighterade is saying there, obviously, because I'm not a sick degenerate like you people are. But with the problem with these diseases, what
Virtue
they're called zoonotic diseases. Yeah, listen, virtue signaling against bestiality is totally fine, and I'll do it all fucking day. So zoonotic diseases, the problem with the Go for STD test, there are some situations like AIDS came about because people were eating bushmeat. They were eating monkey meat, okay? Now, some people, maybe this is a racist thing, I don't know, said they were fucking the monkeys, okay? I don't know how true that is. But the issue you've got is if you increase the prevalence of which animals having sexual interactions with humans, you're increasing the chances of these zoonotic diseases developing and spreading, and the feasibility is that something could happen in the future where, you create a circumstance where some equivalent of AIDS or HIV or whatever it is, comes present because of this increased prevalence of sexual activity. So I think there is also like a pragmatic reason to argue against it, so we don't bring about some sort of fucking terrible disease.
Even fucking COVID, there's links being
Yeah.
that COVID came from bats, and that was because there was no sexual. It's not even indicated that that was because there was sexual contact between an animal and a bat. That was literally just because of interactions. So you think that that's not definitely going to be increased when you introduce like sexual interactions between humans and dogs or animals or like literally any animal, like monkeys. Another example.
Yeah,
Well,
I haven't seen any
mass
I have not
storing
seen any
animals
like
causes pandemics
study
too,
or like
sure.
like sufficient evidence that engaging in
Yeah, we
dogs in
know.
this way like increases the risk of like zoonotic disease transmission.
I think it really depends.
And
on the
also and
case,
here's
though.
here's the other issue with this.
So you're
Right?
saying you got to
Because
see a
if-
study to
if-
not
if-
fuck a dog?
Yeah, unironically. And the other thing is, if we want to talk about like, well, the spread of diseases, like, no, I think adults can like consent to like the risk of getting a disease from like engaging with an animal. So again, like HIV transmission rates are again primarily within the gay community, over 80% of new infections. That disease is primarily spread throughout that community. But I would never use this as an argument saying like you can't engage in sexual behavior because as long as you're like an adult, like there's no issue with that.
I mean,
Again,
it's
The
what you're
argument
considering a state of
becomes-
non-
The argument becomes you should do it safely. Not that you shouldn't do it, but that you should do it safely. That's how the
Right.
gay argument would go. Yeah.
That's
No,
what we're
okay, but
saying.
the-
Yeah, and
issue
you
is
should
you're
do this
thinking of it-
safely, right?
You're thinking of it one way round. What if something develops and the animal gets a disease? Well, you've just given a zoonotic disease to the animal.
Yeah, but you
Um,
can do it safely, and it's safe for both
Is it
parties.
possible to do it in a way that's 100% safe? For example,
I mean, it's not
even if you're-
possible to do
Your pet
100%
dog's
safe
sick
for
too.
humans either. So,
So I'm
Are
looking
you
through it
gonna
and, like,
wear a mask around your fucking pet
the dif-
dog?
but
Like
the
obviously you
difference-
can get
but-
it sick in a million different ways.
Sure, but the difference is there isn't the same risk of these kind of new diseases developing between having sex between humans as there is in having sex with animals. So it's an extra risk factor that you're introducing for no discernible
yeah, but we could just say
reason.
the same thing for gay people.
here's like
Well,
the
not really. No, you
So-
can't make the
so-
same. You can't make the same argument about gay people because you don't have the same risk of these
Right.
zoonotic diseases, which has ravaged us time and time again.
I mean, you have a
COVID
higher
is an
risk of
example.
HIV.
HIV is an example. Yeah, but that's my point. HIV is developed as a zoonotic disease in the first place,
And then it was spread by the gay
monkey
community primarily in the
pox.
United States.
Oh my god, dude.
Okay, the reason it was spread by gay people is not just because of the thing in and of itself, it's because of the poor response to it. That's one of the reasons it spread so prevalently. But fundamentally it came... Sorry, go
You
on.
have to have
No,
the gay
Ronald
sex for the
Reagan
STD to
ignored-
spread.
Ronald
No,
Reagan
it's-
ignored the AIDS epidemic
Let's,
within the United
yeah, but this
States.
is-
for
Hey,
so
I'm
many
calling
years.
an audible here. I'm
It's-
calling
it's
But
it.
you're
spread for a
able,
couple
but you're
of
We
able
ran all
to
that,
deal
but
with
that-
it much more effectively between humans, and you're able to have protection that we know definitely works. Okay, and you're able to have medication and the treatment of it and stuff like that. Not so with animals. It's a
Well, all
different
the
story.
decisions about dog fucking get made by humans. So in the same way that all of the agents in the HIV epidemic are humans who can change their behaviors or be given infrastructure to improve their outcomes, you could theoretically do the exact same thing with dog fucking. So even that is not distinct between dog fucking and the HIV epidemic. Like the problem is that the disease wasn't tackled, not that the disease happened. I don't think you can put in place any policy or denormalize something
But why
to the
do we-
extent
why
that
don't
you'll
we
never
just
have
skip
new
to the
diseases
part-
popping up.
Why don't we just skip to the part where we don't put additional risk factors in that could increase the likelihood of these
That's a
diseases cropping up
conservative
in the first
argument
place?
that they can use for justifying the same shit for not having gay sex. That's like literally
Actually,
a primary
no.
fucking argument they
Actually,
make.
no.
Yes.
Actually, no, because you could
Have you not
introduce
seen the
comprehensive
monkeypox
sex ed.
discourse?
No, I have not. I was
Okay,
too concerned
right,
with
they
dog
say-
fucking discourse this week. Sorry.
So fair enough. Sorry, you were doing your research.
Yeah.
The problem with monkeypox, the monkeypox discourse, was that it was being spread in the gay community because it was prolonged physical contact, and so people were spreading it in grindy clubs with fishnet shirts and promiscuous fucking, right? And that tended to correlate with the gay community. And so the conservatives were using that as an angle to say, well, the gay community needs to stop being promiscuous, stop grinding at clubs, and stop having sex because they're spreading a disease.
Wait,
But we don't even know
that
the
is a
origin of
complete.
They
that.
were spreading
That is
the
a
disease.
complete bastardization of the conservative position on that. Okay, it wasn't the gay people, not maybe some far right people or whatever were saying
Oh,
it.
I
But the
debated someone on this, and that was their take. But sure, there might be some less insane versions of that take where they're just like, well, they should just be careful. Sure.
Okay, so I've got to account for like the random schizo that you spoke to in this. I mean, I'm talking about broad perspectives. Okay,
Those are
I think-
the perspectives I saw. But sure.
okay,
fine.
right. You're so fucking insufferable. Do you know that, mate? Do you know how fucking annoying you are? Okay, so the perspective from most people that I
I'll
saw,
switch my name again.
okay, was not that gay people need having sex totally. It's there's this thing that's ravaging the gay community. It's primarily being spread amongst the gay community, which is true. Maybe just cut back on the fucking crazy anonymous piss orgies for a couple of weeks while it gets sorted out. That was like the more reasonable position that I saw. You know, yes, there was some anti-gay shit and stuff like that. I get that, but obviously, you know, humans have the ability to have some sort of level. There was a thread that was going around, and it was this dude. He went to this piss orgy and was talking about monkeypox.
So
Like,
if I go to Fox News, that's the take that they have, and not that gay people are being overly promiscuous generally, and that's why these diseases are coming from. If I flip
Maybe
on a
Fox
segment
News
on
is
Fox
right.
News, well, okay. So this guy is also demonstrating the conservative opinion that I'm saying was the mainstream one. Like, this seems like a Fox News style argument that was being disseminated, right? Like the mainstream
was the
in
Fox
our
News
country.
argument?
I don't know. Like, I'm saying that if we flip on Fox News right now, I'm pretty sure that they would have gone in that conservative direction that I was saying, not the reasonable. Maybe if the gays stop fucking for just a couple weeks, everything will turn out fine. I'm pretty sure that's not something that fucking talking heads on Fox News were saying. I'm sure they were digging deeper on the, you know, gay degeneracy side of that argument.
Yeah, but they were
possibly, yeah.
arguing from conjecture.
Yeah, well,
They
that's
don't
the
even know
mainstream
that-
conservative position, Chud. You
Okay,
can't
is it the
pretend that
mainstream-
Fox isn't. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's the big. Okay, we're not gonna. Let's not get off a tangent. Fuck. I don't know what you think the mainstream conservative position is.
So
Maybe
one
you
of the-
think that. Yeah.
I mean, well, all I'm
The
saying is
primary
like,
reason for the primary reason why STD transmission rates are so high is because of incredibly high rates of sexual promiscuity within that community. I mean, that's just factually true.
Well, and also just
that
biologically.
was
Yeah, I mean, it
the
depends how it's being
biological element, we're talking
argued.
about HIV, yeah, for sure.
if the argument was, you know, this is being spread, monkeypox is being spread amongst the gay community because there's a high level of promiscuity amongst those people. To me, that's just true. The prescription is what's important. If they're saying gay people should stop having sex forever, obviously that's wrong. If it's gay people should moderate their sexual activity in these areas where it's spreading until it's sorted out, then that I would agree with that. I
Sure,
think that's
Yeah,
fine.
so we could
and
just
the
make
same
the
thing
same
for Naughty Princess,
prescription
yeah.
for zoophilia, right? You could just say,
Zoosexuality.
or zoosexuality, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. He's gonna come in. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
sexuality.
Right, so
Using
you could just say
zoophilia
we
as a
can.
sexuality.
Yes.
Well,
it's
let him make
sexuality,
the
not
argument.
furry.
I mean, look, this is just semantics. Who cares?
Well,
No, you get into it. I mean,
yeah, make your argument.
My goal
This
is
is why you're
normalization.
here.
Okay, I disagree with Lactoid's goal there. That's where we separate. We're on different paths now, buddy.
Yeah. So here, because what happens when you don't have normalization is you have this lady lose her
What he was
job.
gonna say. Dog, say your fucking piece, please. Otherwise, I'm gonna say it for you.
Wait, well, what's my piece? I don't get it.
With the
Oh my
fucking
God.
disease
It's your
spreading shit. I'll
piece.
forget it. Yeah, fuck it. All right. Then.
No,
I'll
what
forget
I
it.
was saying is that you could just moderate your sexual behavior so that you're not likely to spread disease to the animal, but you could still fuck it.
There you go. So he's saying that he can give Chud's version of the more reasonable conservative argument in favor of zoophilia, in the same way that and that you're the one who's being the extremist in the same way that some conservatives you claim were extremists were saying that all gays should stop being degenerate to stop spreading monkeypox.
The people in the opposition, do you think I should be allowed to breed dogs? Like, should I be allowed, like, you know, basically put two dogs in a room and let them fuck?
No, I don't think you should breed dogs.
I think breeding is unethical.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but we're consistent. So
Hey,
the other
I
three
am
are
too,
gonna have
buddy,
problems.
and I'm consistent
You're,
too.
right, you're consistent in the wrong direction.
But why is breeding animals immoral? I don't get it.
Because
There's
apparently when
already-
animals fuck, it's like a problem.
Well, actually, no. Wait. That's very different.
No,
okay?
it's actually
But there's
fine when
material.
animals fuck other animals.
Okay.
I'm
Why?
saying that there's
Why
a
is that
problem
fine? They
Wait,
can't
between.
consent.
What? Okay, fuck me. Okay, hold on. So first of all, the reason breeding animals is bad is because if it's dogs or cats, let's say, fucking 100,000 dogs and cats get put down every year in shelters because there's an overpopulation of them and they're continuing to be bred. So there's obviously a direct material harm that's being done there because there's an overpopulation of these animals. When it comes to the specifics of just letting two animals fuck without actually impregnating anything getting impregnated, I would say that is as coercive an act of sex as you fucking the dog as well. Like, there's no difference to a dog being able to consent to being fucked by a human or being fucked by a bigger dog. There's
Right.
No
Well, no.
difference.
Wait. Small bug. Let's go off on that then. So, in the
All right,
same
then.
way that we should, like, according to these people, like, go stop someone who's about to fuck a dog, we should
Yeah.
also go stop a dog that's about to fuck a dog, right?
How does
Yes,
one logically follow from the other?
Now, one is harder to in our society. One is harder to do than the other, right?
Oh,
like,
it's
if I go to
pragmatics. The
no, for me,
resources.
no, I want to stop all of it. Yeah, motherfucker, I've chained myself to slaughterhouse trucks. All right, I'm
You
doing
think
the
that
shit.
when,
my
when we're
God,
saying
you're
that
one
you
of those
should
people?
prevent
Oh,
animals,
gross.
that
I'm one
you
of those
should not
people.
breed animals, or you should prevent them from mating, that we literally mean that we should go up to every single pair of animals that we see fucking each other and pull them apart. I'm just saying we should have comprehensive conversations about people knowing that they should like neuter and spay their animals, so they don't even get to that point.
Hold on.
But then
Do
you're
you
making the
think? Do
same
you think we
argument,
should
it's just
like
more
have the
pragmatic.
police? Should the police go
should
after
neuter, yeah.
people who have sex with a dog?
Of
I'm sorry, say
course.
that again.
Oh,
Should the police go after somebody who has sex with a dog?
uh-oh. Are we going pro ACAB on this one or not,
Obviously.
Aaron?
If
Which
we're
direction
all
are
in
we going?
favor of legalizing this, then I think that's
Are
a
we pro,
testament to where we
anti-cop?
are as a society, right? Where,
Are
like,
we cannot be all in favor of legalizing this.
I think
We
we all
cannot.
are.
There's
No,
a
wait,
not
difference
allowed.
between
I'm not in-
decriminalizing and
wait.
legalizing it.
Oh, sorry,
Lactoid-
decriminalizing it. My bad. I know. I agree.
No, Lactoid. I want to keep it criminalized, and I want to criminalize the other 98% of the ways that we exploit
Oh, okay.
animals.
Well,
So
Smug Bug,
that's-
I'll ask you then. You want to keep it
I'm
criminalized? So
authoritarian
the
today,
police,
okay?
the police come and like arrest somebody who's gonna like fuck the dog. But you also
Yes.
are you in favor of like the police going and stopping a bigger dog from fucking a smaller dog?
Yeah, I think
No.
if the cops now there's better things that they could spend their time on. But yeah, like I would actually stop two dogs fucking. Absolutely. In a scenario where I didn't like get shit for it.
Wait, but I don't understand why. Like, why?
I wouldn't do that,
get
but-
it.
Wait. Would you stop one animal from eating another animal if you could?
Oh, absolutely. What, like a living animal?
Yeah, of course.
Would I stop an animal predating another animal? Yes,
Yeah.
obviously. Sorry, if you wait, this is literally
Wait.
like a common thing in society. Sorry, motherfucker. With those videos where they release a little rat.
So no,
and a
we're not talking about
swings
pets.
by-
Smug. Let me ask this, because we're not talking
What?
about
It's
people's
in,
pets.
in
We're
nature,
talking,
it's happening.
You're walking down the street, you see in the woods, right? You see in the woods a cougar just
No, I know.
chopping down,
I've
trying
already-
to chasing a deer down.
Yeah,
Say you
assuming
had a
you don't get
gun,
harmed.
you'd
Assuming
stop
you're
that
not getting
cougar?
harmed.
I would scare off the cougar. Yeah, absolutely. Assuming that I could do it without risking harm to myself. Oh, obviously, yes.
Well, how's this cougar supposed to fucking eat?
Comedy bit.
What is the cougar like? How's this cougar supposed to fucking eat? You know what you're doing? You're starving that cougar. That's fucking animal abuse.
An ecological
You-
collapse. This motherfucker
You
is
all know.
gonna cause.
You all know. Okay, listen. Or maybe you don't. Like, I don't want to make this about my biocide conclusion. Okay, let's stick to the topic. But I will take that to the logical conclusion. We can talk about that some other time. Okay.
He wants
will
to like,
bite every
eliminate
bullet you give me.
predators.
Yes.
I mean, I have heard some people make that
consistent.
position. I mean, it's consistent.
Moral.
I'm not
It's moral
necessarily
too.
arguing against it, but
Okay.
I don't really see why we should prevent animals from breeding. Like, I don't get it.
Well,
I love-
I
the
love
reason,
that
the
we
reason why we don't go out and dictate natural selection is obviously because we don't, whether we admit it or not, we don't value these fucking animals in the same way we do humans.
I do.
But we
That's why I'm dictating natural selection.
Unless you're gonna go stop a coyote from eating a goat, like
But
you.
we ought to.
Wait,
we
but
ought to.
even
But we ought to.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
wait, but
There we
even
go.
if we did value animals as much as humans, why would we prevent
can't,
them
but we
from
should.
breeding? I don't get it.
No,
Because
I
they
mean,
can't
we
consent.
can't, the reason we don't do it, the reason we can't do it, sorry, the reason we don't do it is because we can't, or rather the reason that, people who are consistent on this don't do it is because they can't. It's not a reasonable thing. It would be like if I was saying we need to go to anarchism immediately, tomorrow. That's not a reasonable thing to say, in the same way that we can't say that we would stop predation. But it is still a moral act that's consistent with the moral framework.
Wait, but
Look,
why? I understand
What about, like,
stopping
the
predation,
ecosystem,
but why
though?
would we
That's
stop
not
them
What about
from
the
eating
ecosystem and the
digestion?
fact that there's an equilibrium in nature that needs to be
I think this is
sustained?
we're getting off topic,
If
right?
moral
Let's
we-
just
framework is
it's my fault.
consistently
Look,
terrible.
You know what? I will. I'll just concede for the sake of this debate. We can at Lactoid. We can biocide conclusion sometime if you want. But
Insane.
My
No,
point
I'm
is that we
stuck
should
on
respect
this.
You're gonna
animals'
kill all
bodily
of them.
autonomy and leave them alone.
okay, all right. The
Except
biocide
when it comes to other
conclusion.
No,
animals.
stop, everyone stop, because this is wild to me. Okay, that you're.
Oh, you actually want this?
This
Okay.
is wild to me that you think that we should just stop predators, carnivores, from eating meat.
I don't think that.
What-
No, I don't think that.
Oh,
Smug
from,
obviously
like,
does.
breeding. He's saying
Smug-
they're,
that's
they're
what-
gonna stop them from breeding, right? That's
No,
what you're
Smug's
saying.
saying stop them from eating, right?
My
Smug
understanding is
saying-
that
no,
people
no,
wanna
it's wait,
stop
it's what? Wick,
predation.
Wick. No, it's further than that. Wick.
No, I
Okay.
understand. You want to kill all carnivores. Full stop.
I thought you
Uh,
wanted to just sterilize them. So
not
they
just,
don't
not just.
procreate.
Okay, all right. So assuming like, but now we're talking about utopian bullshit, so it doesn't matter. Assuming a Star Trek level of total control over the biosphere, why would you allow, given that you have the choice now, why would you allow that level of mass suffering to continue occurring on a daily basis? Why would you allow deer to starve to death, degenerate from parasites, and live in fear and like a nightmarish existence every single day under your total control of the Earth? Why
I mean,
would you allow
I
that
could
to
see a
continue
case
happening?
One-dimensional
for what you're
perspective.
saying.
Animals, yeah, because Lactoid doesn't actually give a
Get
shit about
fucked,
harm to animals because he's consistent. But the rest of you who do care about animals enough to not want to fuck them should be consistent with my fucking position on this.
Perhaps,
so
yeah.
this
Suffering
choose
bad.
one: Lactoid and dog fucking, or me and killing all life on the planet. These are your options. This is the Mass Effect.
Wait, but why
fucking
can't I
choice
be
that
in
you can
favor
look at.
of getting rid of predation, but also fucking animals? I don't get like what's wrong with. Like,
Wait,
if
what?
we-
I'm against predation and fucking animals.
No, but why can't you be against predation but not against fucking animals?
You could. I mean, yeah,
Because
you could.
because in both cases you're revoking something's bodily autonomy against its consent, and I
Wait,
care
but
about
why?
the consent of
But
animals.
why? Wait, but why should we care about the consent of animals? Like, I understand. Like, okay, so animals feel. Like,
You've been failing to make that argument this entire fucking time, motherfucker. You haven't been able to explain why we shouldn't care about the consent of animals.
because I don't think animals value consent, nor do they.
They don't
even
need to.
understand.
Children don't value consent, but we value consent around children
No,
because
but
we know
the
that children are
reason-
likely to be harmed if we don't.
Yeah, but the point is, it's about harm, not about consent. Who cares
So,
about
wait,
consent?
so hold on. That's my bug. The end result of your logic, though, is you have to be against then all interaction with animals, right?
I think that you can have interactions with animals that are wholesome even without their consent.
Sure.
Yes.
So
in the same way that you can
what's
give a
what's-
child a happy life.
Wait, but
Sure.
that's about.
Whoa, hold on. What's the
consent.
basis
I
of,
don't
like, you say
understand.
wholesome? Like, why would a dog who's perfectly enjoying licking the peanut butter off of like some lady's genitals? Why would interrupting that benefit the dog?
It might not necessarily benefit the dog in a vacuum in that specific moment, but but discouraging the idea of humans getting a like sexual pleasure or really any like physical pleasure in that way from animals would probably will lead to less harm overall.
Yeah.
But
So
honestly,
is there any
somebody-
evidence of this at all?
Sorry, there's no evidence of this.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
there's no evidence of this at all. I don't think that
I can
there's,
give
like,
you.
a
I can make
sufficient
this very. I can make this
I don't
really.
think there's
I can make
any
this-
sufficient
Look,
justification
I can make this easy
here.
for you. I can make this easy for you. You have two societies that are identical, except in one of them everyone can fuck dogs legally, and in the other one no one's allowed to fuck dogs. In which society are more dogs harmed?
I mean, I think the society in which you could safely have sex with dogs, the dogs would be happier overall.
Okay, let me. No, the fact that there are sex acts occurring between humans and dogs on a greater scale
I think it's
means
fine.
that the harm is more likely.
Wait, but I thought
To the
the
dog,
argument
to
was
common
about the
consent.
permissibility.
It depends on like the action. So like we could narrow the scope
I
of
can
like
make the
what
same argument
actions.
for the gay
What
community if
action?
it helps
Yeah,
you.
hold on. We could, right? We could
I know.
narrow the scope of like
And then
what
the
activities are actually banned and what activities are okay. And like the peanut butter, the video of Naughty Princess, like whatever she was doing, all that's like just fine. Okay. But like maybe the dude using a hamster as a fleshlight. Okay. Maybe now we say like that's obviously
Yeah,
harm.
so that's I'm like on Lactoid's side here. Like, I think if you have a video, right,
Wait.
where the dog is clearly not really being harmed in any way.
You can't
right,
say yeah, but you can't
What
read
if
the
you
mind
use a pencil
clearly.
on a hamster?
Wait, you
You're not
can't
using a
clearly.
fleshlight. You're fucking a hamster with a pencil. Is that okay? Because it might, be small enough.
If it was small enough, then maybe. Yeah.
Okay,
well,
just
I'm-
wanted to get your position on that.
I'm not sure about a
Sorry,
pencil.
I
but-
didn't hear what Chud
It
said.
depends how
Lactoid.
big the pencil was, I guess.
Wait, sorry, I didn't hear what Chud said.
Is it
Lactoid.
sharpened? I don't
Can you
know.
repeat that for me in a full
Just
sentence?
not the pencil end, the eraser end. You know, if you get the eraser end in a hamster's pussy and it's small enough, and is that all right?
Too much friction, Chud.
Lube it up.
Okay, that's better. Yeah, then.
And I
you've got,
agree,
you've
like,
got,
my
you've
own
got
bigotry-
you've got one of those tops for your pencil, you know, that kids had back in the day. Just a hamster stuck on the end of your.
Y'all are missing like a really important point here, which is that
Enlighten
people
us,
or
darling.
kids. What's that?
Enlighten us, darling.
I will. Thanks. Anyway.
Oh my god! No! Sorry. Okay, Karen.
So the reason that you so you guys aren't concerned if you saw a child pencil fucking a hamster, you wouldn't care.
Well,
A
the reason
child, maybe not.
Well, yeah, okay, so in the same way that we would
A
be
child
concerned
and
about
adult.
A child, I might care. Yeah.
He's just
An
going to say
adult,
because he
no.
cares about. So, like, in the same way that we would care about a child picking the wings off flies, but not being concerned about them eating a burger, like it's about the
Yes.
fact that they are distinct from. And actually, this is one of the few arguments that you could theoretically make, and I'll give it to you for free because you guys are failing this embarrassingly. There is a. If you were to fully normalize dog fucking, then this doesn't apply anymore. But in our current society, with a gradual normalization of dog fucking, one problem that you'll end up with, and one of the reasons why societally we find dog fucking abhorrent, is because you are crossing a boundary that society has set, and that means that's going to be correlated with you crossing other boundaries that society
That's my
has set.
argument. There's utility in these things beyond just the ethics of it, because this is an antisocial tendency. If you normalize this, it's going to make it more difficult to be able to determine who has a propensity to harm human beings also.
Right, so that is the closest to a good argument you can get, but here's the problem,
No.
Aaron. Wait, let me do it. The problem, Aaron, is that if you fully normalize dog fucking such that there's no negative attachment to it whatsoever, then that no longer rings true. Now it's just another part of society, in the same way that in a fully vegan society, someone who ate burgers would be treated as a complete insane murderer.
No, this on Smugbug. This is all, like the other element. What I was going to say is that like this applies to any kind of like what is seen as socially deviant behavior, right? There's studies that link having tattoos with mental illness, right? And there is, right? There's studies with having different colored hair is directly linked with mental illness. It's not because the hair dye causes mental illness. It's because
they're women.
Statistically, people who have mental illness are more
Exactly.
likely to get their hair dyed. That doesn't mean we legalize like dyeing your hair, even though there's a direct correlation there. In the same way that, like, yeah, it might be that the people who like decide to have sex with animals are like more
why
likely
society,
to be mentally ill.
We're not explaining it as a justification. We're explaining it as why society finds it abhorrent, right? And where that is sourced in. It's the deviation from the norm that correlates with other deviations from the norm that might be
not narrowed
harmful.
enough then for me.
I've got to be honest, Smugler, maybe you disagree on this, but I think we should focus more so on things like normalizing things like trans people rather than fucking dogs. That's probably a priority that we should focus on.
I totally agree.
Yeah, we can walk and chew gum at the same time, gentlemen.
I
We can
agree.
walk and chew gum at the same time.
So
Yeah,
you
but
we
think
can't
applying
really.
it to
No,
a child
that's
is
not really
just
true.
equally as
No.
righteous
Martin
as, like,
Luther King
natural
said
You
an
can't
injustice
change-
anywhere is an injustice to everyone.
Exactly.
You can't change broad social, like, there's been a definite succession of like different social groups that have pushed for acceptance over time. Maybe we'll get around to the dog fuckers in the future. But to be honest with you, before the dog fuckers, we probably got to get around to the furries. The furries are probably due their day in the fucking
That's next,
sunlight,
yeah.
So I don't know.
Do
But for now,
furries? No,
This
that's
is
a
a
good
political-
question.
like a political
If your
efficiency
concern,
argument.
Smug and Straighterade, if your concern is about, and to you, Chud, as well, if you're concerned about normalizing this stuff, does not furries having sex with other furries also part of that pipeline, part of that normalization chain that happens? So if you are concerned
Listen,
about the
you're not gonna get me on this
normalization
one.
impact, right?
I think furries should be locked in prison merely if they put a fursuit on.
Fair enough. What do you think, Straighterade? Are you
Well, you've just
jail
used
the
ruined
furries?
American
Cage the
football for
furries?
everyone. The mascots are all getting imprisoned.
I'm here
Good.
for
The
furry
mascots are
rights.
furry pipeline.
Hey, I'm here for furry rights. The furry conventions and people getting expensive ass fur
there's a
costumes
huge
and suits and
correlation.
rolling around in parks and convention
Yeah,
centers.
look,
like,
there's a
this
huge
is what it takes for
correlation.
them to avoid
I'm
having sex with
against-
animals, then go for it.
But there's a huge correlation between those who engage in furry behavior
Is
and
there
those
actually?
who have sex with animals.
Wait, do you
Is
have?
there?
Do you have a?
Oh,
do you have
No,
a-
I don't act. I'm making shit up.
there
I don't
is-
actually know. But
I
We
saw
know
somewhere
that
that
you
I
are.
strongly
I don't know
suspect.
if
Yeah, I
that's
saw
even true.
somewhere that there is, but that's
There is.
because
I can
that's
believe
because-
that.
yeah, but that's
It
because
makes
people
sense,
who are
okay.
likely to
Yeah.
be zoophiles are probably going to be attracted
But
to
that's-
that kind of stuff, right?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, and if anything, that's good
sexuality.
news, right? Because that's good news because you want people who want to fuck animals to be fucking furries consensually rather than fucking animals. So that would even be a positive thing. So by deleting furries from the planet, Chud, you're actually going to be removing one of the few outlets that dog fuckers have. So now you're going to have to go hunt down all of them and like imprison them too. And like you're just going to just give them an outlet. Let them fuck other dog fuckers in fursuits. There you go. Problem solved. Bish bash bosh. No more dogs fucked.
Yes,
I mean,
but
this.
there's more. Okay, look, there's more chance of a human, actual human, even though they're a furry. So actual human in quotes there. There's more chance of them being harmed, right, and their consent being violated than, well, to be frank, a dog has no consent. He has no ability to consent. They have no,
Wait,
it does not apply. The standards we put to animals do not apply to humans, and we should stop applying the standards we apply to humans that we apply to animals. We just should stop that.
Wait, so you're saying that two humans having sex have a higher chance of like a psychologically destructive outcome than a dog and a human having sex in a non a way that the dog can't recognize as abuse? You could use that same argument for children, and we're not okay with that, right?
No, we can't use that argument for children. And you yourself even admitted, right, to basically saying that the reason we care about consent for children is because if they don't consent, there's gonna be harm, right? There's very likely to be harm.
Well, no,
But
there's
what
not.
you
Yeah,
really
yeah. There's
care
more.
about. Hold on. So what you really care about is the harm, not the like bodily autonomy bullshit, right?
I care about the harm, but also the likelihood of harm, right? So like if we
Okay,
normalize
well, that's
an
what I
action that
mean.
causes more harm, yeah, right. If we normalize an action that causes more harm, and one of the two parties in that action can't consent, so like I'm okay with BDSM because both parties consent to a potential increased risk in physical harm, but the dog or the child can't consent to the potential increased risk of harm to them. So that's the distinction. Both parties have to consent to the increased risk. The dog and the child cannot.
Yeah. So,
With a-
but
with a
I'm saying
child,
in
there's
the
actual
case.
risk though. But with a dog, in certain circumstances, like the video that Chud's talking about, I don't think there's any
In that
measurable
specific
increase in risk.
in that specific video, I can imagine that the dog wasn't materially harmed.
But
But
she
as
got
society-
fired.
Good.
Yeah, because we
lost her
want to denormalize it, right? Like we want
Yeah,
to
but
what if you
continue
just-
to
what if
stigmatize
you-
this
hold
behavior.
on.
Then
Hold on.
denormalize the actual
Well,
abuse.
well-
Don't normalize like somebody
Yeah.
engaging in
What will be
responsible behavior.
Normalized.
Okay,
That's not
all
the
right.
word.
What would
Do you
be?
think someone should be fired for pedophilia, Lactoid?
If they engage in like sex with a child, I don't think that can be done safely. So I would think they should be fired. But just being a pedophile, they should get help.
How can
I
that
don't
not
think
be
they should be
done
fired.
safely? I'm not gonna describe, but I imagine there is probably a
There's
scenario where
psychological. We have studies that show.
Hey,
there's
let's
think
be
that
very
non-eff-
careful. Let's be very careful on this line of analogy.
okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Lactoid,
my
do you
point.
think that non-offending pedophiles could be teachers safely, like school teachers?
Probably not. The risk they have towards children.
I'm not really
I think
sure
is
about
concerning.
that.
Okay, interesting.
Because again, I care about children. I actually value them, which is why I don't eat them and I don't own them. But animals, because I eat them and I own them, I
But
don't.
why do you value? Wait. So why do you value children differently?
Oh God, motherfucker.
Okay, fine. We don't have to do it. Fine. You can just be inconsistent. That's okay. I thought
It's
you
not
cared about
inconsistent.
consistency, but
Yeah,
that's
I
fine.
think it's really.
It's
He
as-
refuses
it's
to
as-
answer
look,
any
it's
question.
as
Every
consistent
single
as any
question that
fucking-
you ask
I'm
Lactoid,
not sure if
you
it is
cannot
inconsistent.
believe that you disagree with him. You just
It's as consistent or as inconsistent, Smugbug, with any of your foundational axioms as well. We can talk about that. But that's like a really deep fucking vegan conversation, which we already apparently don't.
I think yeah, I know. I just think those axioms are more abusable. Like I can use the same logic for a lot of things, but we don't have to get into that. That's fine.
Sure.
Another time maybe.
I've got a quick question.
Alright.
If you had a daughter, would you be happy if you walked in, and would you be comfortable if they were fucking a dog?
To be frank with you, I don't know if they'd be. I'd be happy if they were any kind of sexual minority,
I'd
but
be
I
happy
wouldn't
for the
stop. But I
dog.
wouldn't stop them.
we're
I
asking
would-
with the dog though.
Wait, you wouldn't
including
stop them?
dogs. Including
Wait,
dogs.
sorry. What was the question?
So
You
if
would
you
leave
had a
though.
daughter,
You wouldn't wait
if you had
and
a-
watch.
if you had a daughter that was 18 years old and you found out she'd fucked a dog, would you be completely comfortable with that? Bearing in mind you think there's nothing wrong with it and it's totally fine.
Like, I'll be morally okay with it. Not maybe I would be like grossed out, but that's
What
a
the
little
fuck is the
different.
point of being morally okay with something if your actions are not going to be congruent with that belief? Because
they would
you would
be.
probably severely punish your daughter, or at the very least take her to a doctor or a psychologist, something. Intervene in
wouldn't.
some way
What's
if you
the-
caught
Oh,
your
not
child having sex
necessarily.
with an animal?
I wouldn't-
Really?
Not
So you wouldn't take
necessarily.
any
Punish
action,
my
you just be like,
daughter?
that's a bit
Different
gross,
IUD.
that's a bit gross, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
Are they an adult?
Take to
Or are they a
the
child?
Yeah, they're 16, the age at which you...
dog or the daughter.
Wait. So let's, because
18
obviously,
here,
if you're
so-
okay, well, whatever the age of consent is where you are, if they were the
Sure.
age of consent and they fucked a dog, would you take any action with it, or would you just
No.
go, well, that's totally fine. I've got no moral issue with it, so I won't take any
Yes.
action. And you
Yes.
just, and if they were like, I want to
Hold
fuck a dog
on.
again,
Is the
you wouldn't
dog
try and
age
stop
of
them.
consent?
I mean, I
Right,
guess it's a case by
Yes.
case. You know,
Yes.
I would have
Okay.
to like. I don't know if I would say yes or no. I mean, I would have to know more details.
No, have
Like,
conviction.
what
The answer is
details
yes.
do you need?
Yes.
Lactoid,
We
what
can-
if,
I
what
can-
if
I
it was
can
your
give you them.
son? What if it was your son fucking a female
same.
dog? You would be
Yeah.
fine. Same thing.
Yeah.
So, but even though there is an increased risk of harm there to the dog, you don't care about the dog, so you don't care about the.
Well, yeah, so I don't, but I mean, I think that you could engage in this without risk to harm, like for you guys, but for me,
Okay, if
even
you
if the
saw
dog
that
was
the
being
dog
harmed.
was being harmed in that situation, you would then intervene.
I mean,
Yeah, I
I
would.
probably would if it's my fucking dog. Yeah.
Okay, but what if it's the neighbor's dog? Or what if it's just a stray
then,
dog?
then I probably
A
would
stray
not
dog.
intervene. Yeah.
If it's a neighbor's dog,
It's
it's
not my
kind of like
dog.
illegal.
This last one,
Well,
no.
unless he gets like he's like opening himself up to like legal liability. Then
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
that's a little bit-
Lactoid, you walk into your son sadistically cutting up a dog for their own amusement, and you're fine with that.
wait, so if
It's
they're
not
an adult,
illegal. It's a stray dog or something. No one gives a shit.
But you would take that as a sign of a
hold on.
further psychological
So,
problem.
yeah. If they were doing that, I would feel in danger for my own safety. I wouldn't really care about.
No,
the
Dad,
dog.
it's just dogs. I only do it to animals because you
So if
taught me
I-
that animals
let's
don't
say-
matter.
Right.
but
If I believe
first,
that,
you
You
know.
taught me animals don't matter, Daddy.
Hold on. Yeah, if that was convincing enough, then sure. Yeah. But I wouldn't be convinced
So
that
you're
easily.
fine. So you come in on the Friday night, and instead of going to the club, your 18-year-old son is chopping the legs off dogs and watching it roll around in a bloody pile in their bedroom, and you're fine with this.
Yeah, boys will be boys. I don't know what you want me to say.
Oh my god. Okay, I don't.
I'm not committed to as strong as a position as that. You know, I don't think I have to be committed.
This is
to
the
as
least
strong as-
violent
I think
libertarian I've
this
ever
is
spoken
complete
to.
copium. If you walked in on your
Insane.
daughter sucking off a cat or fucking a dog, there's no way you would just be totally chill with it. I think this is just one of those things where you're saying it to win the argument. I think you would be outraged disgusting and you would take action off the back of it.
Lactoid,
I can't
Lactoid,
prove.
I'm
Hold on, I
saying-
can't prove to you otherwise. But I'm telling you,
will
like,
vouch-
I
I
would
will
not give a
vouch for
fuck.
Lactoid's
I would feel like a
arrangement.
little bit like, wow, that's kind of like I'd be disappointed in the same way if she was any kind of sexual minority. But like at the same time, like I wouldn't like,
Sexual minority?
yeah.
Like
That's
what?
the-
You would
What's that?
wait, Lactoid. You would put that
I
on the
wouldn't
same
stop her.
level as someone who, if she was just a member of the LGBT community.
Wait, you'd be disappointed if she was gay?
In principle, but not on.
D
not
to the
proportion.
So at the
LGBT.
same level, that
Not
you,
the same
if you
level,
walked
not the
in,
same level.
Okay, so if you walked into your
The same
daughter,
principle, though.
to your daughter, to your adult daughter, having
my God.
sex with a dog, you would feel disappointment on the same style of, maybe not at the same level,
Yeah.
but the same
Yes.
style of
Yeah.
that you would if she was having sex with another adult human female.
Sure.
Is that what you're saying right now?
Yes. Yeah. But I would never stop her because I believe in consent.
Okay.
Wow, dad of the year.
Your dog.
Oh, okay, wait,
I don't
Lactoid,
have to
Lactoid,
agree with
Lactoid,
everything my kids
Lactoid.
do to not be a good dad. What the fuck?
Wait, Lactoid, hold on, Lactoid. Would you be okay with your daughter being gay in a future where being gay is the sexual majority then? I'm serious.
I'll
I'm
give
serious.
that one more thought. Okay.
Okay, listen, I don't want it to turn into a Lactoid.
You never
I
answer a
just wanted to
fucking
ask a question.
question, Lactoid.
I don't know. I don't fucking
You
know.
fucking dodged
Wait,
everything.
no, you
left it
cannot.
off.
You
I
cannot.
dodge everything. You
Sorry,
said that I
cannot.
use
I
logic.
mean, he
Yeah.
was answering questions.
fix
the whole
I answer
time.
every
I-
question.
He's biting
Yeah, I
bullets.
heard him. I don't get
Dude,
it.
like you get, hey, stop.
Why
You can say a lot about Lactoid tonight, but he's been
Yeah.
biting them bullets left and right.
Yeah,
He ain't
no, I
dodging.
No,
respect
not the
Lactoid.
hypotheticals.
He's a
Not the
psychopath, but
hypotheticals.
he's a champion.
He will explain the underlying logic, but when I ask him to apply his principles in real world examples, then he wants to back up and say, "Well, I don't know what I would do," or like, "I don't know, I don't think."
But
it would
that's just
matter,"
one
and you're really
specific
fucking
No,
case.
I
wrong.
know.
Like, he
I
just
want to add. No,
generally
you're right.
doesn't
I
know.
want to add like nuance and explain the loaded questions that you give me every once in a while. Yes, I do.
Oh, they're
I
gonna
do
be
do that.
loaded because your shit is insane, bro. Like,
Yeah,
obviously,
so
we
this is
we're
like not-
trying to make serial killing look bad. Actually,
I'm not
So
being.
loaded
I'm
if
not.
you're
I'm not. So
asking
I'm not
what
being
actions you would
deposed.
take if you caught your daughter
Yeah,
having
I'm
sex
not-
with a dog.
I'm not being
Why is that
deposed.
loaded?
I can answer things in more than just a yes or no. Right? I'm answering things. I'm answering the questions directly. Everyone here acknowledges that I'm answering the questions directly.
the only question you dodged was mine about the gay majority.
I said I didn't
No,
know. I'm
here's
not
the
dodging
thing.
that.
Right. Here's the thing. I just
If
want to
you
point
answer
out
with, "I
there
don't
are
know," I'm
many.
counting that
Look,
as
look,
dodging it.
look, if LGBTQ
can I
was a sexual
interject?
majority, I'd probably have like a lot less of a problem with it.
You wouldn't be scared about straight replacement. The straight replacement.
Probably not. I mean, I'd have some
Okay.
issues for like population shit, but that might be.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
lesbians are
I think that these are questions are when you're asking how would you react, right? I mean, you're not only taking into consideration morality there. A person might react negatively due to other reasons, like social pressure.
I know, and I want
like
to understand what those reasons are right now, currently. Like for them personally, for the people who say that, like, oh yeah, like I like maybe you're somewhat morally permissive of it, but I'm asking you what that looks like when if you're interested in normalizing it, like examples of you coming across people actually engaging in this behavior that you're claiming you're okay with. I want to know what you would do, or if you would really just have this, like, you wouldn't care.
Yeah, so in cases where it's clear that or at least as clear as it could be to us, right, looking from like an outside perspective, that the animal isn't really being harmed, right, and that the person is perfectly like sane, they're not like just torturing the animal because they're like a sadistic fuck, right, and they have healthy, normal relationships day to day with people. They just, sometimes they just want to get off with their dog and they put a condom on and the dog is wagging its tail. It's excited. I think that's fine. It's
You
weird.
look at
It's
abuse
gross,
as
but
only this thing that can manifest as something that's sadistic, but it's possible to abuse another person or a child or human being by other means, by exploitation, by taking
I
advantage
never,
of them
I never said, yeah, but I
that
never
outwardly
said
look
that.
neutral but are actually not, and
No,
predatory.
I never, yeah. So I never said that. Abuse only occurs when the person is sadistic. I'm saying if the person is not like sadistic, right, or abusive or whatever you want to say, like they don't have like some pathology, right, that's gonna,
This
make
is a
them.
pathology. Zoophilia is a paraphilia. It's not even a sexuality.
But I'm saying if it's not a pathology that manifests in itself in a way that's harmful, or that's likely to manifest itself in a way that's
Well, I
harmful.
know you don't think it's harmful. I'm sure you think it's a fucking sexuality, right?
I think
I don't think there's a difference between paraphilias and sexuality. I think that's just like something we made up, right? We just drew the line.
It is kind of a marker of societal recognition more than anything
Right,
else.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
like we don't-
paraphilia is literally defined as just a sexual like preference, right? That's considered abnormal.
Not
or
everything that is a
unhealthy.
preference is a sexuality. If I have preferences for blonde people or people with red hair, that wouldn't suddenly mean that I was like a blonde sexual, right?
Yeah, but if there was a specific
Well,
community
see,
and
I don't know
whole
if I agree with that.
could
like
be,
a following about that, yeah, like anything can become a sexuality, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I
like
don't
if
think
you're a
it's
gay
so
man, like
argument.
you're like into like you have a preference for like dick and abs in order to fuck that, like
Wait,
Yeah,
homosexuality wasn't a thing in like Rome, right? Like it was sexuality was redefined away from the actual physical acts. So I don't think you can really say that like
yeah. I don't
sexuality
think
isn't culturally
orientation should
determined,
be
right? It doesn't matter.
considered like. Yeah, I
Wait,
don't.
why do we have to go all the way back to ancient Rome? I'm talking about how they're
We don't. I was
categorized
just
now.
picking the most well-known example.
I'm saying the distinction between preference and
These are all
orientation
Rome heads, okay?
is sort of somewhat arbitrary. I mean, I guess you could say orientation is more
entirely
ingrained,
arbitrary.
right? It's harder to change. Like,
Yes.
generally
So
people.
we should
Oh, I'm
focus on
not
the harm, not
disagreeing
on
that,
the
like-
sexuality component.
Yeah, so I don't think that this is really germane to what we're arguing, right? The point is,
It's not very
Who's
cogent.
sorry? Who's Jermaine?
what?
Jermaine
the fuck
Jackson.
Just real quick for the viewers at home, like just a small note. We have a new emote that has been uploaded in honor of this panel. We just
Oh, no.
uploaded it now. So make sure you spam that in chat if you'd like.
Oh,
Whick
gross.
TV /
she looking
Whick TV
thick.
puppy, right? Don't get excited, dog fuckers, please. And if you're really liking this content,
I
please
guarantee
give me money.
WebPD was fucking
Anyway,
responsible
carry
for this.
on. Go on.
We need
Wait,
money.
where is the email? I want to see
No,
it.
it's
in
on
chat.
my Twitch chat, right? No, please
Yeah.
don't look at no.
Please
You
subscribe.
That was on Discord.
avert your eyes, okay? You specifically, you Lactoid and
Need
Rhubarb. Don't
Money
don't
now.
look, okay? It's
Need
not for
money
you.
now.
Look, I personally don't have any sex, like again, like just like I would any kind of sexual minority. Again, like I explained in my intro, with the exception of pedophilia, I think there's unique concerns there. But I'm not that, but I am an ally, right? It's due sexuality. I think that unironically, I think what we've seen here on this very panel is just a lot of fucking bigotry and not a lot of like logical, cogent arguments about why we should be arresting these people.
The
or
only
getting rid of
bigotry
their
that I've seen
jobs.
on this fucking panel is from you when you compared the disgust that you'd have for your daughter having sex with an animal would be the same disgust that you'd find if you caught her having sex with another woman.
I would accept it, but like
I mean, disgust is
like
disgust. You
if
can't
I
really control disgust,
if I came into like any kind of like, well, now this person's gonna have a harder life and it's my own child, of course I'm going to be a little bit disappointed, right? I mean, you wouldn't.
He's kind of doing the left-wing thing of acknowledging his implicit
Gay
bias. That's
children
actually
are
not a terrible
undesirable.
thing.
Yeah, thank
Like,
you. Right?
Like he's being honest about the fact he has a bias. He's not justifying the bias. He's just saying that's the feeling I would have.
Right, and it would not be a legitimate feeling to act on because she can have sex with a woman if she wants to because she's an adult and
Or a
that's her
dog.
decision.
Or a dog.
Or a dog.
Lactoid is my favorite leftoid.
Would there be any Lactoid? Would there be any dogs you'd be more okay with than others? Like, say it was.
Is this the one
say
used
it was
Chihuahua
a-
question?
Yeah. What if
Yeah.
it was a small dog, right? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, the one used Chihuahua
wouldn't
I mean, it's
matter?
probably more dangerous.
What about a
when
Great
you have
Dane?
No, the pit
with a
bulls
big
scare me.
pussy.
The pit bulls? No, pit bulls
No,
are
no pit
definitely
bulls.
off the table.
Can the
then.
zoophiles say what their favorite breed is? Like, what's the hottest breed? What's the
I'm not,
sexiest?
Is
I'm
anyone
not
here actually a
zoophile, but I really
zoophile?
like huskies.
They're
you know.
fakes. They've not
There
even
you
fucked
go.
an animal. Bullshit.
Again, they're
I was
not allowed
breaking
to
dog
say.
fuckers.
Well, Dog just said he likes huskies.
Well,
I'm
Chud
saying
is the
I'll
only
say
one who immediately
platonically,
clicks
only
on the dog fucking
platonically.
video, so I can see why he's disappointed.
I like them only
It's more of a
platonically.
platonic thing. Yeah, it's more of a
Yeah,
platonic.
yeah, it's a
Man's
non-sexual interest.
best friends. Yeah,
It's a medical interest.
exactly.
Look, I understand we have to be circumspect about this, and I please do, right? But at the same time, there are people, because I want to be clear, like when putting this panel together, these three, Lactoid, Rhubarb, and Dog here, are the first three that said yes. But there are so many people who wanted on this panel to defend dog fucking. There are so many people who claim to be actual zoophiles, who claim to have had multiple relationships with multiple dogs. This is an epidemic. Even right now,
Where are they?
today,
I want
Yeah,
the
I
person that's
know.
having a relationship with a dog.
Epidemic.
Not these fakers.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
this is...
That's very
this is-
big of them.
The
It's very big of
zoopidemic.
Lactoid and Dog and Rhubarb. It's very big of you guys. Thank you for being on this panel. And being
Yes,
pro
the
dog
only one
fucking.
for-
Standing
their
up
face.
for a oppressed minority,
to
100%.
clarify, I'm
You
not
wouldn't
pro
expect
dog
it from
fucking.
me, but here I am.
I'm anti-dog
I don't
fucking.
expect much from you anyway.
Oh, Rhubarb said
Rhubarb,
he's
you're anti-dog fucking?
fucking.
You were presented
Yeah,
to me
I
by
didn't get to
Gibby
do
as
an
a
intro.
pro.
We cut those short.
You
Yeah,
were
that was my
presented
fault.
to me as
Oh,
pro.
Rhubarb, if you're not
I
a
wanted
dog,
to
if
do
you're not a
that.
dog fucker, I'm sorry.
No, I'm a zoophile. I'm not.
Oh my
pro-dog.
god.
What? Oh, God.
There you
damn
go.
it.
He's
Okay.
he's like one of those.
I
He's
knew
a
that.
non.
I
He's
knew
a
that.
So
Wait,
what?
wait,
Okay,
wait.
what
I
animal
knew
is
that.
your
Non-offending.
animal? What
He's a
animal is your
non-offending
animal? It's not
pedophile.
dogs and what? Horses?
What? Horses are
I feel like
hot?
it's gonna be
Goats,
foxes.
monkeys?
Fox.
Otters?
How do you not get this?
It's a fox in the profile
Can we
picture.
let the zoophile
Wait.
speak, please? So talk to us. What's
I
what's
think
going on?
otters are hot.
I could
Have
see
you ever
that.
have you had sex with any animals?
It's like the poor ant.
I tasted a dog's penis once, but
How did it
How
taste?
did, how did it taste?
it
Yeah.
wasn't sexual.
It wasn't you.
Okay.
Oh,
You
terrible.
non-sexually licked the dog's penis.
Yeah, I have a fixation on like teeth.
Oh, nice. Non-sexually.
It's a
How does one do that
neurodivergence.
non-sexually?
Oh my god, he's neurodivergent. He has a fixation.
Come on, listen. This
I
is
think
not
we're
shaming.
a little neurodivergent
Oh,
on this
oh.
Discord, you know.
Oh,
Lactoid,
Oh,
would you
God.
don't you want to celebrate? Isn't this beautiful? Listening
Oh.
to him describe these glorious,
This
beautiful
person-
acts of
This
sexuality.
person should
Yeah,
clearly
I
not
do.
be fucking arrested. That'd be ridiculous. You guys want him to be put in a cage.
I never
Insanity.
said that.
Aaron,
Oh,
Aaron,
I was
has he
minor,
done? Wait,
but
wait, Aaron,
Chud did.
has he done more harm by tasting the dog's penis or by eating a single burger?
Probably eating a burger, right?
Aaron.
Probably eating a burger, yeah.
Okay, so he should be in prison for the burger, not the dog penis. There we go.
I
We got
don't
it.
even
we got
believe I don't even believe in punitive justice though. That was why when Lactoid asked that, I'm like,
That's
this
fair,
isn't
yeah,
the gotcha
yeah,
that you think it is. So like,
How
for
are we
him to
gonna
say
stop-
like, there's other ways that you can deal with people who are
How
fucking
would you
dogs
deal with
besides
them
just throwing them
straight?
in prison.
How
Straight
would
away,
No,
how
you-
it's a
would you deal with
derail.
them?
Okay, fine.
No, I'm curious.
Wait, you wanna get into
Straighterade?
criminal
Yeah.
justice
I
memes?
want I want you to know.
Let's roll.
Say you knew, okay? You knew that your next door neighbors, they were having sex with animals, okay? All the time, all sources, horses, dogs, kitties, the whole
Hot,
menagerie,
yeah.
okay?
All of it.
And they're
Yeah.
just going at it.
It's a real
How would you
Susie
deal
call.
with this?
I wouldn't be punitive with it in the same way
Okay,
that I
so
want
you're saying me how? I
non-offending.
wouldn't, but how
Yeah.
would you? Right?
Yeah, I can tell you, but I'm just
Please.
like starting from there because people think that like the only way to deal with these things would be to throw these people in prison or like mental facilities, but that's not what I'm saying. I want people to be able to express that they need help or someone to talk to and get and seek treatment and help for these afflictions, not to feel so scared that they can't even like openly talk about it. But I don't want them to feel so comfortable that they could just brazenly go fuck animals and stuff like that without social repercussions.
It's the pedophile argument. It's the pedophile argument. Like it should be discouraged and stigmatized, but they should be enabled towards help. And
Yeah,
the,
I would
the
respect any
stigmatization
zoophile-
is there to
yeah.
push them towards help. Yeah,
I
okay,
would
that's
respect
fine.
any zoophile who doesn't offend and tries to seek help for their mental afflictions and their compulsive behaviors around animals. Yeah,
Okay,
I-
are
that's
you in
commendable. I respect
therapy
that.
for your
Well,
dog
hold on.
penis licking?
So you accused me of dodging. Whick asked a very simple question. Your neighbor was fucking animals, like, and let's say that he refuses to stop. What do you do?
Are you illegally
right
allowed to
now?
own an assault rifle in the
Yes.
state?
What do you do when your neighbor's fucking a cat? What do you do? What you call the cops? What do you do?
Yeah, probably. In the same
Okay.
way that if I caught my neighbors doing dog fights or cock fights, or like any sort of animal cruelty, like right now, the systems that we have right now, even if I don't personally agree with them, the best that we can do is report it to the local authorities. Yeah.
And then what do the
But-
cops do?
I don't know the policies surrounding this shit.
What would you have the cops do when they showed up to the house?
What? I don't know. Like probably they
Or
would
is he
find them.
black, or
They would find them.
Or take him to
They-
jail.
they
What
get them-
size of
I
a
don't
fine?
don't
Would
know.
it
If you're
depend on
asking
the
me, like-
animal? Would you have a
Come
bigger
on,
fine for
dog.
horses than you
Wait,
do
Lactoid.
a puppy?
Lactoid
you're
the
being-
Dodger. Okay.
Lactoid, you are being
Wait.
you're being unfair. Wait, hold on, Lactoid, you're being unfair. Like obviously,
No, because
there's,
I can't
there's
tell
a
if you're
distinction
asking me,
between.
like, what ought they do, or
Exactly.
if you're asking me like what will they do.
What
Is it
ought
are
they
you
do?
What will
talking,
they
or
do?
is it
I don't
today?
know.
Look,
Is it
I
utopian
know
today?
what they will do. Like I'm okay with
I
that.
know what
okay?
they'll do now.
I'm asking what ought they do in your society. Let's say you become
Okay.
like the dictator or whatever, and like you find out like, oh, this guy's fucking a cat, and like
A
and
left-wing
he
dictator was gonna
refuses to
happen.
stop. What would you do to stop him from fucking the cat?
And you're saying in an ideal utopian
him a dog
society that I'm
instead.
in charge
Yes,
of.
yes.
Okay, I already fucking explained it to you that these people would get therapy and help, not be thrown in
He
jail.
refuses to go to therapy and help. What do? You force him to go to therapy?
Take the cat away.
Yes.
You take the cat away for a start.
Okay,
you
yeah,
remove
okay.
them
So
from yeah.
you're talking about using force and throwing people like somewhere
Yes,
they
this
don't
is
want
how
to
we
be.
Yes,
enforce
throwing
laws.
shit out.
Yes,
Yeah, alright.
I don't think you have a
Hell yeah.
problem with this.
Well, I think that's like incredibly evil to do towards like a sexual minority who's not hurting anybody.
Well, it's hurt the cat.
you can't know that he's not
Cat's
hurting
fine.
It's
anyone.
about
You
the
don't
harm
know
to the
if the
cat.
If
cat's
you look
fine.
through a window and you see someone fucking a cat, how are you to know that the cat isn't having a terrible time of it? You just can't tell that.
Yeah,
Because
but
a
if you
cat,
look through, that's a bad argument too. Because if you look through a window and you see a cat rolling around, blazed out his fucking mind with catnip, or chasing a laser pointer until he gets anxiety, but which, by the way, is a real thing that happens to cats.
It is a
in
real
both
thing.
of those cases, it is a real thing. Then in both of those cases, the cat is being harmed in a way that's difficult to see for most people. We don't see cats chasing lasers as something that's dangerous to the cat, but it is. Like it fucks cats up mentally.
okay, but the risk of a cat getting fucked up from having a dick put in it versus getting a laser pointer, much greater with a dick getting put in it, I would say.
I don't know if that. I
Would've
mean, we
thought.
have studies
Cat
for
might
the
have been a
laser
bad
pointer
example.
thing. Yeah, cat might have been, but we have
What about
studies
a
for the
dog
laser
licking
pointing
out
thing.
a woman? What about that?
I don't know if we've got studies for the fucking thing. Like, if a
The
cat
dog's
is
not gonna
licking your
get hurt.
penis,
I think. Okay, listen,
cat
I'll
licking
grant
your penis
this.
is
Okay,
better than
I
the
wouldn't
laser
call the
pointer thing,
cops if
based
there
on
was a dog
evidence to
licking
me.
peanut butter off some fella's dick. I probably wouldn't call the cops for that. But if the dude was balls deep in a dog, yes, I would. Okay.
you care about the harm,
What if
not
the
about
dog
the
was very happy
sexuality.
about it?
You
Hey.
can't tell, Lactoid.
No, you
But wait,
can
I think-
tell. You can obviously. Hey, motherfucker, the dog is expressing everything that would indicate the dog is having a good time. Okay.
But you could say that with someone with Down syndrome. Someone with Down syndrome might look like they're having a good time, but I'm pretty sure you would agree that you couldn't have someone have Down syndrome in the house and fuck them. They've not consented, but they don't know what's going
no,
on, and they're giving all the signs they're having a good time.
Make a
No,
case.
So the
if
reason
you make the dog
no,
come,
I will not
great
make
job,
that case.
Lactoid.
The reason why like the Down syndrome is again different is again there's like I think unique risks of harm there to a person that that's something that we morally value. We also can't.
But their brain is
we also-
fucking mush. They're
we
not
al-
going to know
we-
either
we-
way.
we-
They've got the
we
same
also-
brain as a dog,
Right,
basically. What in that situation?
Unlike Smug-Bug, we haven't had this conversation yet, but I'm not necessarily basing
what's
this off of intelligence. I'm talking about like, are they a human being? Are they a person? And if they are, right, then like not only do I value them more, I'm not going to slaughter them, I'm not going to eat them, and engaging in sexual activity with them like comes with unique risks to that person.
Yeah, he already bit the
simply,
bullet.
That simply is not the case when it
He
comes
already-
to like a
he
dog
already
licking,
bit the worst
licking something
bullet.
off or fucking a dog. And here's the
So-
other thing, right?
Right.
So
On-
if
on the
someone-
serial
If someone-
killer-
if
no, no,
someone-
wait,
if
wait,
someone's
wait,
Down
wait.
syndrome in your house, you put peanut butter on your dick and you let the Down syndrome person lick it off, and that would be okay with you, yeah?
As long as it's not harmful. Are you okay with that,
What
Lactoid?
if they have a
I mean,
peanut
if it's
allergy?
not harmful, I'd be okay with it. I don't care. If we can
How do you
choose
get
some
Lactoid?
harmful.
That makes sense from these two, but Lactoid is the only one who's actually consistent here. So what's the deal?
Give me a
But I'm
second.
consistent. What do you?
You're consistently wrong.
He's trying to, like, for those of you who don't know what's going on, and I don't blame you. Okay, he's trying to wrap his head around the latest question that's been posed to him, and by him I mean Lactoid. Lactoid is the gears are turning. Can you repeat your question for the audience?
So,
wait.
Let me ask one clarifying question. Like,
Sure.
for this hypothetical, can you guarantee for me, like, the risk of harm associated with him doing this, would be equivalent to, like, I don't know, like playing frisbee with the Down syndrome man? Because if yes, then I think I have to say yes.
I mean,
you don't have to.
Okay, I would say that we perhaps lack an understanding of like the brain to really know like what impact that would have on someone with like Down syndrome.
Well, can you?
I don't know for sure. But...
Can you play frisbee with a guy with Down syndrome? I'm thinking,
sure,
okay,
but I think the problem is if I was to look at a human being that can sort of consent and stuff like that, I don't think that there's much risk of playing frisbee with any human being. But you know, going against their consent and getting to lick fucking peanut butter off your dick is going to cause some problems. So if someone had like Down syndrome or some sort of issue, I think I'd probably be pretty comfortable playing frisbee with them. But the peanut butter thing, I'd be a bit like, well, that's a bit weird to do that. You know, a bit odd, and it could cause problems.
Right. That's why I'm insisting on you have to, in order for me to say yes, you have to like guarantee in the hypothetical that the risk of harm is equal. Empirically,
well, do you have to guarantee
but we have way more empirical evidence like for that this would be harmful to the person with Down syndrome than it would be for a dog. Right. There's really, unless somebody has something that I haven't seen.
Well, let's say that the person with Down syndrome is at the same developmental level as like the most intelligent dog, right? Let's put them on the same level of intelligence and therefore this level of capacity for like psychological harm as a result of
basically like a dog.
You treat them the same.
This is about your human psychological though, right?
Okay, but this is the thing, right? The critique is of your Chud is doing name the trait, but from the other fucking angle.
Yeah, it is ultimately like name the trait. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Oh my god, wait, he got veganed me on the god damn it!
No.
I got off
vegan debates against dog fucking.
Son of a bitch! He got me.
Okay.
Wow.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway. So, I guess this is.
Wait, really quick.
Please.
I just want to argue against this idea that like consent does anybody on the pro zoophile side? You guys don't value consent at all?
Well,
harm is the only thing that you look at.
I suppose I value it insofar as the person or animal in question values it.
One, how can you ever know that? But two, I would say there's utility in prioritizing consent over just evaluating whether or not something is harmful. Because, like, the example of forcing somebody... yeah, I do. But I don't think that most people think that. Yeah, I was about to say, I think consent is something that people understand to only be in between, like, humans and humans, not humans and non-human animals. But that aside, I'm not going to turn into a vegan debate, so I'm not going to turn into a vegan debate. But I'm just saying that there's utility beyond just evaluating whether or not an action is okay based off of how much harm ends up occurring because of that action. Because again, like with the example of somebody who's mentally handicapped and you are playing frisbee with them, like it's not harmful technically, but if that mentally handicapped person was in the best way that they could communicating to me that they didn't want to do that, if I forced them against their will, even though I was trying to back up and say, well, you know, it's not harmful for them to like be forced to play frisbee with me, I think we could all agree that something wrong has occurred there, no? Something immoral or unethical?
I think that is
harmful. So here's the thing. So I think the problem with that intuition is because we generally do see being forced as something harmful, right? When you think about somebody forcing you to do something, you're emotionally you're sort of emotionally responding to it. So in a way, it does come down to harm ultimately, right?
Like, for example, we could also, like, you would force the person with Down syndrome, like if they weren't eating enough that day, you would force them to eat their vegetables that day, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, but there's harm that can be demonstrated beyond just like violating their consent in that respect. It's like they're no more consenting to being malnourished than they would be, or like it would be worse for them to, like, they're not consenting to being malnourished, you know, any more than they're
malnourished is simply like a state of not having something. So we know that the benefits of like having the broccoli in their system is better than the harm that comes from forcing them to engage.
Well, I'm replicating this beyond just a discrete example. I'm assuming that you would probably have to, on multiple days, multiple occasions throughout their adolescence, kind of force them to eat certain foods, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right? I'm saying like there's benefits there that outweigh the harm of violating their consent, of encouraging them to eat certain foods, right?
Yes.
Okay, but like there's a line that can be drawn there at some point, no?
Yeah.
Or you're saying that line...
No, there's no line that can be drawn. It's just it's an individual calculation every time. If it's good, like if the benefits outweigh the harms, then like they should do it because they can't consent anyway. So we should be having them do like the ideal decision for their own well-being every time.
But I'm saying that, like, okay, like another example would be like if you said, I don't want to vaccinate my child because my child does not consent to getting vaccines. They're saying that they're resistant to shots and vaccines. They don't want it. But I would also argue that, like, you need to think of the ramifications of not vaccinating your child. Like, do you think your child would be meaningfully consenting to getting measles potentially, or smallpox, or some other sort of infectious disease? Like, they probably wouldn't really consent to that either. So in a small way, you're violating their consent to prevent a greater harm of, like, yeah, they wouldn't be consenting to, like, get malnourishment or disease.
Well, the problem is violating someone's consent doesn't always trigger a trauma response. When somebody's raped, it's traumatic. It's not just somebody's consent was violated. When a person with Down syndrome is forced to eat vegetables, they're not traumatized, but their consent was obviously violated.
I hate to do it, but he's kind of right in that the overfixation on, like, there are studies that demonstrate
it's not the most important thing to me. It's just like one of many things that's important to me.
Sure, but like in a society where we didn't say that this was a terrible thing that happened to you and explained that this was a traumatic event, then it wouldn't carry the same weight, right? I'm just saying that is
intuitively
true.
That makes sense to me. I don't know how true that is, but intuitively
it is actually psychologically. This is also true. Like if I've done writing on the on fucking communities that overfixate on trauma responses to, like, childhood abuse, that actually has worse outcomes for victims of childhood abuse. Like, if you overfixate on the trauma of that, then you actually end up with worse mental health outcomes for the victims of that, because society is telling you constantly that you were, so terribly violated and your life has been forever tainted, blah, blah, blah. So, like, similarly, in the other direction, like, if there wasn't that trauma response there from society, then there would be a lesser trauma response from the person involved.
That's also, like, with trigger warnings. Like, that's the exact same logic behind it, too.
Exact same thing,
all the studies show like, trigger warnings are bad and, like, are really not good for someone's well-being, but, like, and the reason is because it associates, like, the trauma as part of their identity.
So we have to.
I think the problem is there's very normal acts that you might do to, like, say, a kids with like Down syndrome that's going to be traumatic, like someone from my chat saying, like, brushing their teeth. Sure, but then the thing is fetch is not something that's necessary that you have to do. That's something that is generally a pleasure activity. But, like, brushing their teeth is necessary. You have to brush their teeth and have good hygiene. It might be that you have to force them to go to school so they get an education and can develop and move forward. Like, there's lots of things like that that's going to happen.
There's a middle ground here, actually. I'm curious about this. Let's take something a little bit more neutral, right? Let's say that there's a kid, there's a Down syndrome child in a school, and all the kids are making fun of them and, like, making them dance for their amusement, and the kid has no idea that they are unable to comprehend that they are technically being victimized there, and all the children are victimizing them, and they're having a great time dancing for everyone. Like, where do you, like, is that okay or not, Lactoid? Because technically there's no harm being done to the Down syndrome child, but they are clearly being, like, in some way victimized and ridiculed in a way that they can't understand.
The logic that I go forward when it comes to, like, children or the mentally disabled is they can't consent, and so they we can compel them to do actions, but the actions need to be beneficial for them. And if the action is
having fun, they're enjoying dancing.
Sure,
that's the problem.
So, if they're actually having fun, then, like, I wouldn't stop them, but, like, what I might do is the other children who are having a good time at this, like, in their mind at this person's expense, I might, like, be concerned with their behavior, and I might, like, individually reach out to those kids and try to, like, figure out why they're having this kind of sadistic personality and try to fix
it. If you saw this through the window, you wouldn't call the cops.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
I didn't hear that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Good one. In a roundabout way, I would say that it is harmful towards that child. And like Lactoid was saying, I agree that, like, the onus is not on the disabled child to stop engaging in the leisurely activity. It would be on trying to communicate to the other students, like, why they're bullying or contributing to, like, ableist attitudes in society.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that would be
but that would be language,
I agree
why do we want to reduce ableist language towards, or, like, ableist behavior, that kind of, like, development of discrimination between these?
I think
it could lead to harm.
I think
harm, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it could.
Okay,
I think hold on. I think having, like, a bunch of people who are sadistic is not a good thing.
Okay, right. I agree. So to bring it home, I think that we should reduce the normalization of victimizing animals, even if animals aren't technically being personally harmed, even if they enjoy being fucked by their owners,
But
because you
what's
end
the
up
bad
creating a society.
ramifications?
Because the bad ramification is that it continues to lead to the harm to the animals.
Wait,
because you're
wait,
creating
wait,
a
No,
society in
wait.
which
hold on. There's a
the
huge
consent
difference,
of the
Mudbug.
animal is
No.
not being held to account, is
No,
not being
there's-
part
there-
of the
look,
conversation.
When we're talking about like regulating,
same exact fucking thing.
No, so this I
It
guess
is.
maybe no, it's not. This is I think maybe like a political difference, but when we're talking about like regulate again, because children can't consent, we can talk about regulating their behavior to try to get them to like not be sadistic. It's probably not a good thing for their own well-being for a child to be sadistic.
I think it's
But,
bad.
but, I'm,
Well,
but,
we
I'm not.
know
But
it's
I'm not in favor
we
of
know it's
regulating an
bad people
adult's
to
like
victimize
whether or not.
animals.
I'm not okay with regulating an adult's behavior, right? Or whether or not they're being sadistic or not. And I'm also not okay with regulating an adult if they want to fuck a dog.
Wait,
but
why
I
are
would
you
be
not- hold
okay.
on.
I would be okay with stopping a
This is
child from fucking a
inconsistent.
dog.
No, this is actually your
Not
first. Your
inconsistent at
very
all.
first. It is because, or rather, it's inconsistent given the facts. And the facts are, we know that people who harm animals have negative outcomes.
Yeah,
in
if they
a lot of
cut
areas.
it, if they cut up the animal, not if they're just like having the dog lick peanut butter off their dick.
Wait,
It gets
couldn't
worse.
you just
It gets
say...
worse. Wait,
It's
it gets
not
worse
the
because,
same thing.
Wait, let me fucking finish. It's also the case that if you take people who aren't sociopathic or, pathologically sadistic, and then you put them in a situation where they're killing animals repeatedly, they end up with negative mental health outcomes. Even in a society where that's normalized, they end up harmed as a result. If you're killing a fucking cow
Smug,
every 6 seconds,
who's being put in a situation where they're forced to have sex with
Illegal.
animals consistently?
Oh, okay.
I
Forced to
am.
have sex. It's not about being forced. It's about normalizing it. Unless, okay, actually, Lactoid. This is
I would
perfect.
not
Thank
be.
you.
I would not be okay with a
You should
child
see me-
working in a
Lactoid.
slaughterhouse.
Right. But Lactoid, do you think that an adult human is being victimized, is being forced into a slaughterhouse if that's the only reasonable job they have access to because they're an illegal immigrant?
No.
Or okay, right. So there you go, Wick. That's the answer.
Yes.
He
so
doesn't think that
adults
Yeah, right.
can consent
So
to
they're
shit.
choosing-
Children can't. That's the
Right.
distinction. So a child can like consent. Like we can mold the personalities of children to some extent, and we can't we don't let them work in slaughterhouses because that's not good for them. But and we also don't let them smoke or drink alcohol. But when it comes to hey, you're becoming an adult, well now you get to make the decision whether or not to harm yourself, whether that's working in a slaughterhouse, smoking, drinking, or fucking dogs.
Yeah, but it's not just smoking or drinking. Those slaughterhouse workers end up with greater levels of domestic violence as well. There's a negative impact on society.
Do you have evidence of that?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, it's literally
Okay.
called the slaughterhouse effect. It's
So
very well known.
that's interesting when we start talking about effects on other people. And I think at that point, a weighing needs to be done between the action that we're letting people do and the actual societal ramifications. And if you actually can prove that there's a sufficient level of victims that would outweigh the amount of victims we would create by preventing that behavior, then I might be on board with you of preventing.
God, I love it. I love it when you speak utilitarian to me, Lactoid.
Okay.
That's why
I
I'm
do
so
have a
consistent.
question for you, Lactoid. Right? This has been asked by my audience. Portland is Burning asks this, and it's a good question, and I'm very curious.
Oh no!
Exactly when
sorry.
does a mentally disabled person lose their ability to consent? Is it at a certain IQ point, or is there another condition?
Consent shouldn't be viewed as a binary yes or no. There are degrees of consent.
Yet Lactoid has said
so legally I would say we have to have it be somewhat of a binary. This is sort of the question of where should the age
There's a
be.
spectrum, but
What are these
we've got a line on the
degrees of
spectrum.
consent? What are these degrees of consent we're talking about? What's that about?
There are. It's just we set a line on the spectrum of consent.
Yeah, so a person could be more or less informed or be in better or worse position to give consent. So let's say a person who's drunk is probably going to be in a worse position to give consent than somebody who's sober. But then again, it depends how drunk they are. Are you tipsy or are you blackout drunk, right? If you fuck someone when they're tipsy, people will say, well, that's kind of not as good as fucking them when they're sober, but it's I guess it's okay because people are willing to take the risk. But if you're blackout drunk, it's a little different because you don't know what's going on at all, right?
Yeah, there's a fuzzy line of drunkenness that can lead to it either being on one side of your decided line of consent or the other. So where we put that line is where we often have arguments about things like Andrew Callahan, for example.
I would put it would be for me a legally there would be a case by case independent analysis of the person, and if they're deemed mentally incompetent, if they're not mentally of the standards of what we set as an 18-year-old should be, then I'm okay with designating them as mentally incompetent until they hit those standards. That's what we currently do. I think that's what we should continue to do. Yeah.
That's not. It's pragmatic.
So
It's like the best option we have.
Given that this
Yeah.
is a spectrum, then Smug, question for you.
Yeah. What's up?
Would there ever be a point where an animal can be like, say, they're like 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙 or 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝍍𝖔𝖜. They're extra smart for an animal. Okay, they're just they're really really cognizant. They're really there. They're smarter than other dogs. Okay, they're not like other dogs. They're the cream of the crop, the most intelligent. Would there ever be a point where you think that they could consent?
I think the most relevant example is the dolphin. I'm sure everyone knows the story of the dolphin that was living.
Yeah.
Are dolphins okay to?
Honestly,
fuck
I would say
if they consent?
I would say that dolphins are closer on the spectrum of consent. I would say that they're closer to being able to consent than a dog is. Absolutely, yeah.
Can I ask
But
for
then-
the pro
but they're also
dog
rapists.
fucking side? Like, what conditions would have to be met if you saw somebody engaging sexually with an animal before you would say like it's harmful to the animal? Because you guys are saying like, oh, you can tell that a dog's having a good time when like it's wagging its tail, it's not biting, or I guess other features and stuff like that. But would there be anything that somebody who's trying to have sex with an animal could do or see on that animal's like face or body language that would that you would say like, okay, this is like, now you're actually raping that animal, or no, you don't think it's possible? Like whether they enjoy it or not, do you care if the animal enjoys it?
Well, I would care, yeah. So like if the dog is trying to pull away, if it's trying to like escape, if it's it could be biting, it could be scratching, it could be
At that point, what is
squealing.
that? Is that
If
rape
it says
to you?
please
Or-
stop
or
Shaggy
even-
in
or
Scooby-Doo's
even-
voice.
Or even if it's like, even if during the act it seems okay, but then after it seems extremely depressed or distraught, it's unable to eat or something like that. If you look sick, then yeah, I would say those are all examples of
If
reasons
it,
you
so
shouldn't
if it
tweets
consent.
about it with a
became-
Me
if
Too
it looked-
hashtag.
If it looked distraught after having sex with it just one time, would you say it was appropriate to have sex with it again at a later time?
No.
No. Would it be rape?
Well, it would be abuse, yeah.
But would it be rape?
Yeah.
Wait, so all dogs are fuckable until proven otherwise?
I kind of like
No,
that.
not exactly. I mean, you can.
Well, that's your point, right? Because you're
So
allowing
there-
yourself to
well, there are other
potentially harm it with the unknown,
considerations.
and then you
Well, there-
start caring. That doesn't make sense.
Well, there are other considerations prior, right? So, for example, like I said, the whole size difference, the potential for harm. I mean, you wouldn't just stick it into your dog, right?
Well, the potential for harm you've just admitted is the potential psychological distress that the dog could end up with afterwards. The fact that you've accidentally, Aaron's got you. You bit that bullet and you're fucked now.
Well, how am I fucked?
Like your
I don't
dog.
get-
Because you're
The
saying
rule
that
is
you
the
do
dog
care,
has to top. That's the only. That's
You-
like
kind of, yeah. Like the point.
Is that your
The
rule
problem-
for it, Lactoid?
That's
The dog has
Lactoid's
to
rule, yeah,
talk?
but he's a
Okay.
I
bully.
mean,
so we
in
don't all
reality,
have
my rule is
privilege.
like whose property is it? It could be trespassing. That's like the only restriction I can think of.
You are trespassing in my dog's
And then,
vagina.
yeah, you can't trespass.
No,
in
no, okay, but
property.
continue, Smugbug. Continue with your.
But-
But like
Right,
you
sorry.
could just say like the dog gets the top, right? Because like dogs have been in heat and they back up into you. Like,
Sure, but anyway, let
Right.
me. Yeah, you fell into it. Sure.
well, the dog ran into you.
Okay. But yeah, the point here, dog, is that you because you've said that you care about the psychological distress of the animal, and you've agreed that there is a potential for that psychological distress. The dog is this is Schrodinger's willing dog, right? Like you've got a dog that until fucked, the state doesn't collapse into it being harm or not. But the fact that there is a potentiality of harm means you're saying me getting my dick wet in a hot Great Dane is more important to me than the potential 10, 20, 30% chance there is that this dog will be psychologically ruined after the fact.
Yeah, so I'm
Because
saying
you
it's
just-
just it's a case by case. So in some cases that psychological harm is probably not
Okay,
there.
so
Like in
what
the case
percentage?
of
Okay, so what percentage of potential rape would it need to be for you to rape a woman in order to get your rocks off? Like you need to be able to explain what level that you're willing to commit to fuck something without being sure that there's like consent in place there, or that you won't do material harm after the
Wait,
fact.
Smug, there are ways to
I'm not
ensure with humans that it's not rape. There are ways to say it's definitely not, right?
Well, he's been talking about how he can read a dog's like behavior
Yeah,
to the
we
point
don't
that
have
he
those
could.
tools that we have between humans who speak the same language, or at the very least have an ability to communicate via like like to try to negotiate these things using your
Nonverbal.
body language or verbally.
Yeah, but okay, but
with
here's the
Body
dogs
thing.
and
language,
animals
that's
that
a
we
big
can't
one
And
there.
they can't
communicate with
retract
Yeah.
consent during the act. So there's lots of issues there, right?
Yeah.
Wait, why can't they retract consent?
No longer
Yeah.
This is
consented,
why.
they would
This
let
is
you know.
why. This is why.
mean,
This is why. This
Well,
is why.
we can't
Well, I mean,
can't
they can
communicate
retract
with them to
consent,
know.
but they can try to like get away, right?
Oh no, dog! You've stepped in it.
If they're on
Iron-
top, yeah.
How did I step in
no,
it? I don't understand.
You have because you've basically admitted that there is a material chance of harm as a result of having sex with a dog, and that if there is a material once you've established that there is a harm, you yourself would be unwilling to continue fucking the dog, which means that you do care about harm to the animal, and so you now need to explain what the pro-con analysis of that is. For the dog be you willing to take that chance that the dog, because here's the thing, you can only find out, again, Schrodinger's dog, you can only find out whether the dog wanted to be fucked after you fuck it. With a human, you
I mean,
can
it could be during
preemptively
the
find
act,
out.
though.
Right, but if they revoke consent during the act, the difference is that means
Well,
that retroactively you raped them.
This only applies to
Whereas
dogs.
with a
I don't
human,
really
they can just
see
turn
how.
off the consent.
Smug, real quick. This only applies to dogs being fucked. Dogs fucking, they will sometimes do that whether you want to or
Yeah, so
not,
if
right?
dog-
They'll
if
grab
dog
your
will say
leg and
that
they'll
you shouldn't
go.
fuck dogs. If dog will retreat to the position of peanut butter licking only, then he can escape. But that's not the position he held earlier. So we
Also-
win.
Yeah, so I'm saying, well, I guess what I would say would apply to the peanut
Mhm.
butter licking position as well, right? I'm
Oh, wait, are you
saying
retreating
that-
to your position? Are you conceding the other side of the argument then?
How am I conceding the other side of the argument?
Because you have to explain how that dog, the collapse of the probability from that dog being either raped or not.
I
you
don't really
can't
see. I don't really see the
Let me-
collapse
oh,
of
let
the
me
probability
re-explain it.
example.
Let me re-explain it. You can't establish consent prior
Uh-huh.
to fucking the dog, which means that you only find out if you raped the dog after you've raped the dog.
Well, it's not
Whereas
about
with a
consent.
human-
It's about harm, right?
No, it is about consent because you yourself have stated
I don't
that there is
care
the
about-
potential. Hold on. No, hold on. You do because okay, fine. Consent, harm, right? That your problem is that you don't know whether you're going to harm the dog until you've harmed the dog.
Yeah, so I'm saying that there is going to be a potential for harm with any action with a dog, but the point is, while you're taking,
Why take the
you
risk of
know-
potentially harming the animal then when
Yeah,
you don't
what's
even
the
need to have
benefit?
sex with them?
I'm
There's
saying
no
with
benefit to doing
any,
so.
but I'm saying with any like pleasurable activity we do with the dog, there's a potential for harm, right? I'm saying
Yeah,
we
so
can
justify it.
analyze.
But a
Yeah,
dog
so
has to
I'm
go
saying-
for a
that.
walk. A dog has to be exercised. A dog needs that to happen. Not much like brushing a child's teeth. They have to brush their teeth for dental hygiene. A dog has to be walked. A dog doesn't have to be fucked by you.
A dog
But
doesn't
I'm
even,
saying-
like play tug of war though with you with like a rope.
Sure. They don't have to. Yeah, they don't have to like play tug of war, play
I
fetch
think dog
specifically. They
trainers
could just be
discourage
walked.
that.
What
as
if,
well.
what if the dog stops wanting to play tug of war? Well, then they stop.
The point is, there's gonna be a point.
But
and
there's
I don't know
psychological
what.
distress
So
that he was
hold on,
talking about.
let-
And
let
you
me-
committed to rape. You literally said that it would be rape if you were to
Yeah.
continue engaging with the sexual act with that dog
Well,
once they've
technically
demonstrated in a
speaking-
different,
hold on,
in
hold on.
some way that they can.
Let me clarify. So
that
yeah,
they
so
don't want to be having sex with a human.
Also,
Yeah, so let me-
also, before you clarify, I'll let you clarify, right? But while you clarify, there is another question for you specifically, dog, from chat.
Uh-huh.
And if you could answer as well, I think we're all
Yeah.
curious. What are some examples of consenting behavior from a dog? When you're
Yeah.
when you're going up
True.
to a dog and you want to make sure it's consenting, what are some of the ways that it engages in fuck-seeking behavior from you? Let's call that. Go.
Okay, so the first thing I would say is I don't think animals can give informed consent. So technically, any sexual act with an animal is rape. I'm just arguing that not all instances of rape are like wrong, right? If they don't.
Rape is bad by definition.
What?
What the fuck are you saying?
I'm
What?
Some
saying
rape
if
is
you're- if
okay, is
you're-
that what you're saying?
If you're
Are you
defining,
saying
yes,
some
I'm
rape is
saying.
okay?
What?
Yeah, I'm saying some rape is okay. Yeah.
Wait, what's
Okay.
up? Wait, hold. Explain which rape is okay.
Yes, I'm saying in instances where it's probably not going to cause harm, right?
Okay,
No.
This is why you need
wait,
to
wait,
consent
wait,
to
so
it.
you're
So
oh,
if some-
let's just take this to this. Chud, you take it. This is yours. Fine, you got
So
it.
if someone is in a vegetative
get the
state
layup.
and they're not going to know what's going on, is it okay to come into the room and fuck them? And you're raping them because they're not consented. Can you fuck them? If someone's blackout drunk and they don't know what's going on and they don't realise what's going on after, can you come on their face as long as you clean it up afterward? Is that acceptable?
Yeah, so I would say so the reason why we might want to go against that is simply because people basically want to be insured against the idea that somebody's gonna come on their face when they're like in a coma.
Wow.
Or
So we came up with
right?
consent, right? So rape is bad. Yeah, thank you. You
No,
got there
but I'm saying in
tons
the
of
case
years
of
later than everyone
animals.
else.
Yeah, but I'm saying in the case of animals, it's not really clear that they value something like consent. So why would they care?
Because oh god, we're back to this. A child can't value consent either. You're looping, motherfucker.
Okay.
Right.
No,
Okay.
a child
You need
is
to
gonna
explain this one. You need to
presumably
explain-
a
you need to
child
explain
presumably is gonna be
what rape is
harmed
okay.
when
Okay, so
they're.
when you say some rape is okay, you are only referring to raping animals, or are there any instances where you can rape a human?
Okay, so in the case of the Down
in a vacuum.
syndrome person, right, when they're like never gonna, they're always gonna stay Down syndrome, and let's say that you
So you
think
can
they're
rape a
probably
Down
not gonna
syndrome
be.
child so long as they never realize the implication of the fact that you raped them.
Okay,
I'm saying if
and
there's a low
enough.
potential for harm, yeah, sure.
He needs to bite this
Okay,
bullet.
wait. What if there's a child, an 8-year-old child, in a vegetative coma they're never going to come out of? So they're never going to know, they're never going to be harmed, they're never going to know what it is. Can you sneak into the room and rape the 8-year-old child in a vegetative state? Yes or no?
If they're never gonna come out of it.
Yeah, okay, I'm calling it audible. No, do not
Yes
answer
or
that.
no?
We have to. This
Yes
is the
or no?
This is the most
If
important
they're
part.
never, look, if they're never gonna come out of it, and like the parents don't care, I mean, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Wait, but
No, no, no,
the
no,
parents don't find out.
no.
The parents don't find out. That's
Jesus
the only harm that
Christ,
can be
dude.
done. Is the
No.
information.
No.
Well, okay, so if the parents don't find,
Stop talking. Please, for the love of God, stop talking now.
No, you need to kill him.
Got it. We got
You're gonna be on an FBI list, my dude.
Yeah, we got. Nope. No. I'm calling it. I'm throwing a flag on the play. We're not doing this. Okay, this is.
Why is it?
It
It got too
Wick, it
spicy
already
for you,
happened.
Wick.
It already happened against your consent, against your will.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you will.
Did we rape
No.
your?
No, we
podcast here?
we raped Wick.
Rape your
Oh no.
panel?
No, I'm saying no. Okay, it happened, but stop. Okay, we can stop.
But dog doesn't care about consent. He's not gonna listen to you, Wick. He can't stop.
Bro!
Exactly. Can't stop.
He's a dog. He's a dog. He's a different species. He doesn't value your consent. He only values the
Yeah,
consent of
he's
other
trans
dogs.
species.
Okay.
Okay.
I want
Do you want us to go back to Schrodinger's rape then? Because I feel
what
like
I
that was the
want to
material.
do, what I want to
sure.
do,
Is fuck dog. Sorry.
no,
Okay.
is I know that Rhubarb has not had a chance to explain his stance. And, oh my God, it can't be as bad as that. So
But we're
gonna
all okay
give
with
him,
fox fucking, so I
we're
don't think
gonna
he's gonna
give
have
him
any
the
contribution.
floor for a moment to have the stance, to have his say, okay? And then, I don't know, gang. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. We might just call it. Cause yeah. But Rhubarb, your floor is yours. Take it away, brother.
Yeah, I am a zoophile, and I am arguing against bestiality, and it's just very disheartening what happened here, because it was pretty much what I expected. People made really weird post-hoc rationalizations for why it's okay to do this and that, with no concern of how it makes other people feel and how it just disgusts them. And it's just not okay to do these things and proudly boast about it and expect to have a platform where you're allowed to be something. Like on Twitch, you're supposed to be something. Well, you're supposed to anyways. It's just really disheartening. And panels like this, I don't think that they are going to get to the root of it. I think that it's just going to platform a lot of confused and upset people like this dog guy. He's just making a huge ass out of himself, and it's just exploitative and just very dehumanizing and just really disgusting. Like, I'm
Well, I
sure
mean, he
the
wants
dog
to be
is going hurt
dehumanized, right?
anybody. Yeah, I'm sure that whoever's hosting this is going to make money from it, but it's just really disheartening.
Are you
Why did you bother
anti-capitalist now? 'Cause
turning
we
up
can
then,
care
you
about that.
fucking beast enjoyer? Also, why are there so many dog fuckers in Eto, your Discord server? What's that about?
True.
That's Toko's Discord server, and she's mentally unwell.
Unlike all the mentally sane people on the pro dog fucking side in this call
Okay.
right now.
Okay, gang.
Normal.
Least mentally
they're
ill
just here to be
panel. Let's
jesters
go.
and just
Gang,
mock
this
ridicule.
I don't know if I want
I'm
to do an
not
after
normal, I'm
panel. I don't
supernatural.
think I do.
By the way, Rhubarb. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
But it was just getting fun. Like I was
Was
just
it?
gonna come
No.
down with the take.
Rhubarb,
What
you
do you
could.
mean?
You know what?
This is
No,
what
hold
I'm
on.
here
Rhubarb,
for. What do you mean?
You can come in here. You can come here, all fucking high and mighty. After sitting quiet on a panel, you had the platform to push back against ideas that you didn't like, and you sat there like a little fucking bitch. You had a moral obligation to push your own fucking morality there. You didn't. You sat there like a fucking coward, letting the world pass you by.
I got this. I got
something.
this.
Okay, good.
Give me one sentence. I got your pushback. I hope
Sure.
you fail at everything you attempt in life except your own suicide.
I am more.
Wait, we cannot have this.
Than you will
Shit,
ever be,
we
my
cannot
dog.
do
Alright.
this.
What happened?
Okay, gang. You guys want outros?
We did it. We got exactly what we needed out of that.
You want outros?
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait,
Do not let that man anywhere near a hospital administer. Do not let that man run a hospital ever. Just to be clear, okay?
The dog is to be banned from all.
We're ending this?
It's hospital specifically.
I didn't even finish explaining my position. Like we can't
You're
go
gonna
out
have
on this
We're
limb.
gonna have an outro.
Position,
We're gonna have an outro.
Come the patience
We're
in.
gonna have an outro. We're gonna have an outro. This has been terrible, and I hated almost every second of it. I'm going to take this jar of peanut butter.
This gave me fucking life.
I'm glad it gave you life because I'm done with it tonight. No after panel today, gang. We're just gonna call it quits. We're gonna end it. I'm gonna go.
Oh come on, the
You-
after panel.
Yeah,
will be
come
You
on.
want an after panel on this?
We want an after panel.
You
we
want an
wanna-
after panel on
What's
this?
it
You
This
said there were
prematurely,
actual
bro,
dog
come on.
fuckers who are lining up.
I don't want
Like,
that.
panel to do this.
No, Whick, we will not. Chud, please speak up. You gotta stop him cucking his own content, man. Come on.
But why did Rhubarb leave? I don't understand. Why did he
Please.
get so mad?
He got
Why
kicked.
can't we
You
just
can't
have
tell
an
people to.
argument?
You can't
He
tell
told
people
me
to
to
do what he
fucking
did
kill myself.
on Twitch. No, we can't do that. He got kicked. So.
Oh, okay. I thought he left.
Yeah, he might have wanted to leave too, but he's also gone.
That's a shame. You made his timing.
I mean,
look
it's all
better. That was
it's all very well
bold.
flexing about other people committing suicide when you're interested in animals sexually. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Okay.
Are we done then?
We're
or what's
done.
going on?
We're done. We're ending.
No,
give your
no
outro.
ending
What the
statements.
after panel?
No, give your
What do you-
outro if you want.
Give him the
Yeah.
outros here.
Yeah, give your
Okay,
outro,
I
sure.
just want to say really simple outro. Thanks to Straighterade. Straighterade was actually fundamental in helping me prepare for this panel. So thank you to Straighterade. Thanks to everyone else for coming along. I think this panel just demonstrates that it's important to have not just what is the outcome, what is the harm, what is the not harm, and we need to have other rules in place which we can test as a society and see what work and see what doesn't and move forward and progress. There's some things that I think exist for a reason, and I think the fact that people that are arguing for fucking animals are also arguing for fucking 8-year-old patients who have got a vegetative state, I think demonstrates the kind of antisocial aspect that Straighterade was talking about earlier. So that's all I've got to say on that. Yeah, have a good one, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate
Yep.
you
Thanks, Chud.
coming by.
No worries.
Next
Thanks,
up,
right.
Next up, we have Lactoid, please.
I felt almost a little bit like I was in 1950 during this debate, and I felt as though I was trying desperately to stand up for community that is constantly shit on, and otherwise rational people just couldn't see why, and it's very frustrating. But what I'm mostly happy about is I think I got all my arguments out. I think they were cogent. I think they were sound. I think I was consistent, and that's what we try to do all the time. If you liked what I had to say, you can find me on Anti-Communism United on Discord, Twitch, and YouTube, or ACU on Twitter. Thank you, Whick, for inviting me.
No, thank you for coming by. Thank you for being willing to argue the points that you were. We'll definitely have you on again. Yeah, thank you for being here. Next up, Smugbug.
Yeah, I think that I genuinely think panels like this are useful because we take something that almost everyone agrees is terrible, and then we start looking at the inconsistencies, and that does actually genuinely highlight negative aspects of things, right? So there is a utility to that. But I also think that the idea of opening up space for bad behavior, like the normalization of zoophilia leading to actual zoophiles being able to start to exist in these spaces, is something bad that's happening. But that does go in the other direction as well. If you enable an inconsistency in your moral frameworks, that itself leaves space open to fill those gaps. You need something that is consistent. You need to be able to cover the space to make sure that bad actors can't move in on that ground. And the fact that I saw some bad arguments against the zoophiles kind of proves that point to me, right? I think you should be consistent enough to knock those arguments down. Tragically, I think that Lactoid was consistent, just in the most psychopathic, deranged direction possible. I think that the serial killer dog example kind of indicates what that side of the equation leads you to. So join my side of consistency.
Okay, thanks for being here, 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙. Dog, what's your final thought?
Yeah, so I enjoyed this panel. I just wish it lasted longer so I could really come out with the hot takes, you know, because I have plenty of more where that came from. But yeah, to clarify my position, I'm not necessarily saying you should go out and like rape little kids in the hospital.
Don't say it at
So
all.
brave.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Jump that point. Jump that point. Go to something. Anything else, please.
What a pioneer.
Don't cut him off.
I'm just saying like there are good reasons why we don't allow that. I'm just saying, look, in a specific hypothetical you gave where like no one cares and no one knows. I mean, I don't know, like maybe like I don't think that it should be disallowed. Like morally, you know. I mean, maybe legally it should be disallowed because of the precedent it sends. And in the case of zoophilia, I think it makes sense to discourage it in most cases, but not in all cases. And I think there are plenty of cases like the peanut butter licking case where it is okay. And then if you want to get into like, well, what about where the dog gets penetrated? Then I'd be like, okay, fine. I'm willing to say maybe that's much more of like a gray area, and maybe there is a good case to be made that probably shouldn't be done because of the risks it poses to the dog, you know. So yeah, but I definitely think that there is at least some acts like where the animal is penetrating you willingly, or like the dolphin case or the peanut butter case, where I just don't think the potential for risk is that high, you know. And yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on, I think. Last but certainly not least.
By the way, I just wanted to clarify, if anybody has any like statistics about zoophilia they want to send me that would disprove what I'm saying
Do not
about the
send this
harm,
man zoophilia content.
Do not.
I please send me zoophilia statistics. All right.
Okay.
It's
Okay, you've had your say. You've had your say.
alright.
You've had your say.
My
You've had your turn on the
research.
sun. We've given you a place to speak. You've spoken your truth. Straighterade, send us home.
Dog fucking bad. Okay, I'm gonna come out with the brave hot take of what I started with, and I'm going to reiterate what I said in my opening statement. So fuck you, 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙. I don't think that there's any fucking virtue in consistently being a dumb fuck, as Lactoid so clearly demonstrated. Same with dog biting the bullet on the fact that he would fuck what is it, like a mentally ill or like deceased or
I'm not saying I would
8-year-old
fuck it. I'm just saying that's not what I said, but okay.
It was not
You just did
immoral.
apologetics
No
for
better.
it, so like yeah, it's okay, right?
Okay, just finish your statement. Tell people where to find you, please.
Oh, just that. Shout out to Chud for working with me on this beforehand. Whick, I'm sorry about the fact that you're probably never going to get a peanut butter sponsorship on your stream now. And yeah, I'm going to put my link tree in the chat. I'm Straighterade on almost everything. And we have on Discord if you want to debate.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Trojan should make a peanut butter.
Okay, nope, we're going to move you off. Okay, I'll see you guys later. I'm going to send you all.
Catch you later. Cheers.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Gang, let's never do this again.